Many men have fallen, our lives given proudly for the cause. Those gallant lives given for their country, and to you now the story I will tell. Won't you sing them a song, sing a lullaby to heaven, let your comrades know you understand. Won't you sing them a song, sing a lullaby to heaven, that our lads and lassies will sing along. Remember Peter Cleary and Fergal Carragher, both were murdered by the forces of the Crown. We'll speak with pride of Jim Lockery and Sean Campbell. In South Armagh these gallant men did dwell. Won't you sing them a song, sing a lullaby to heaven, let your comrades know you understand. Won't you sing them a song, sing a lullaby to heaven, that our lads and lassies will sing along. In North Armagh, remember McIlvenna, Crossy, Burns, Toman and McCarr, and from Tyrone, McKerney, Cardy and Coney, McNally, Ryan, Tony Doris too. Won't you sing them a song, sing a lullaby to heaven, let your comrades know you understand. Won't you sing them a song, sing a lullaby to heaven, that our lads and lassies will sing along. Remember Bob Kelly and Jim Bryson, Skipper Burns, Sean Savage and Billy Reid. These men all hail from the gallant Belfast Battalion. So many more I cannot them all name. Won't you sing them a song, sing a lullaby to heaven, let your comrades know you understand. Won't you sing them a song, sing a lullaby to heaven, that our lads and lassies will sing along.
You're listening to the Rebel podcast with Rory Carson. Tasha Vigestach, listen fod cruelly Rebel le Rory McCarson.
Well, folks, good afternoon. How's all doing? What's the crack? Welcome along to another Rebel Sundays on the Rebel podcast. Myself, Ro, folks. You're very, very welcome this afternoon. Thank you very much for joining me. Quickly back at the normal time after our little early session last week before the last Glasgow derby of the season. The match wasn't great, but listen, at one point, and we're in touching distance now of that trophy with those lovely green and white cinch ribbons on it. So, let's, folks, what a match yesterday. So, as usual, please share the stream for me today. We're multi-streaming on Facebook, on YouTube, and Twitter all at the same time. Big welcome all the new listeners who are tuning in today. Great to see us on. I say, if you're watching on Facebook, folks, please share the stream for me. As I say, over the last few weeks, my numbers by Facebook have been drastically removed. So, I say, due to a lot of the sort of Republican sort of content I would post on the page, my page is basically on a bit of a... I've had a few bans, I have to say, over the last few months. So the page and the viewing on it has been restricted by Facebook. So I need you all to share the page, folks. I say I have like 16,000 followers on the page, but say not all those 16,000 followers will get to see this today. So I need you all to share, folks, as much as possible. So if you're part of any Celtic groups, Republican groups, Irish music pages, basically share your own stream if you can. I know a lot of people can't share their own stream due to their work and stuff, whatever. That's not a problem. Just share it anywhere for me and we'll bump the numbers up. We're also watching on today on YouTube, so you can basically just copy and paste the link from YouTube and you can copy it onto any of your social media feeds. Again, on Twitter, if you're watching on Twitter, we're going to try and build up the Twitter feed. So, please retweet the stream. We'll need to get a few more viewers and watchers on Twitter. So, Right, so we'll jump in and get a few comments, see what we'll have listening in today, folks. Let's see. John Rush, what is the crack? Rushy John, listening there in Cross McLean in Bandit Country. I know you enjoyed watching the election results from it, as I did over the last couple of days. We'll get into that there very soon. Catherine Brown watching today on Facebook. How are you doing, Catherine? Good to see you on. Stevie Holbrook, what's crack, Stevie? Watching today on YouTube. Gary Sharvin is watching today on Facebook. Hey, Big Ro, up the Rebels. Happy days. Scott Temperley, good afternoon. Remember to celebrate two events. Celtic Championship again and the win for Sinn Féin. Well, we haven't got the win yet for Celtic, but hopefully midweek we'll have our hands on that trophy. I see Brian Hamilton is watching today on Facebook. How are you doing, Brian? Marty Heaney, there he is, our regular spanner and moderator on YouTube back in the day. Good man, Marty. Elaine, good to see you. Elaine, your son and his missus, you're night at the Beehive. Great gig it was. Cheers to Philip from the Beehive for having me down to support Gary Og the other night there. A great gig. A lot of you may have seen the few videos put up over the last few songs played. Great night it was. Great sound system, great lighting system, and a great crowd the other night. So it was a great gig. So it was. Lee Curry is watching on YouTube today. Afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone is good. Jack Delaney, our resident Dirty Dub. What's crack? Derek, he said, afternoon, Rose, Stephen, Marty, and sunny Dublin as well. It's very, very sunny here in West Belfast today as well. So it's very, very sunny indeed. Proven Will, how you doing? Tommy, share the stream, good man yourself. Let's see, Scott says, Franny McAdam, PM me please about the dates of the Cardinhurn parades. I missed them. Trying to get new people to step up. James McCleave is watching today on YouTube. Good man, James. Good to see you on. Maura Burns, how you doing, Maura? What's the crack? Martin Kane. Well, what's crack? Any chance of playing Rebel Sunday? Live and lovely Salou. Yes, I forgot your way over your dad there. You lucky bollocks, you. Well, hope you enjoy it, mate. Yes, I'll get that on for you today at some stage. Dan Breen, what's crack? Good afternoon, Dan. Good afternoon, all from sunny Coatbridge. Barbara McCall. There's a name I haven't seen the way. What is the crack, Barbara? You've been very, very quiet these last few weeks. Their man got the hold of you. So you have. I hope you're keeping well. Good afternoon, John Boy McElhenney. All the celebration is time to come. Death is indeed. Right, let's see. There's another man listening in Staten Island, New York. Neil Costigan. Thank God we're back to normal time. Good morning from a rainy NYC. Well, it's normally sunny over there, so I think we're glad to say we have all the sun today. So I have John Collins today is watching on YouTube. Hey, great Sunday morning in New York. Up the Rebels, good man as well. Watching in New York today. Valerie, how you doing, Valerie? Terry Craney as well. Let's see, who's this here? RRMM McD. Up the, well, what's that some name or what is that? Carleen Gold, how you doing, Carleen? Watching from Cumbernauld in Glasgow today. How you doing? Stevie Kerr, happy Mother's Day in Canada. There you go. So yes, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers in Canada today. Right, folks, before we head on today, we'll have a load of things happening on the show today. So, obviously, as you all know, we're back with a guest this week, and absolutely honoured today to have today's guest on the show. You'll know of a rebel band was going a few years ago, and at one stage they were probably the biggest rebel band in Scotland at the time. Athenrye, great band, they brought several albums out. Namely, their one that recorded live in the Glasgow Barlands was absolutely fantastic, so it was. So we're going to be having Joey Bracken, who was basically one of the founder members of the band, who is now over in Lanzarote, based over there, and singing himself away in Bar 67 in Lanzarote. So we're going to have Joey Bracken live on the show, live from Lanzarote, fingers crossed. Hopefully his Wi-Fi is good. We're going to have him on the show live at about 2 o'clock or 2:15. Also today we're going to be... remembering in song and story about today, folks, is the 35th anniversary of the ambush at Lagall. Cannot do this show today, especially today, seeing it falls on the anniversary. So we're going to be playing 3 or 4 songs that basically are all about what happened in Lagall that day, 35 years ago today. So yeah, that'll be coming up in the next maybe half an hour or so. So listen to that. But folks, also, I know like there will be a lot of listeners to this show, and I know there is, and you're entitled to your opinion, who would be, let's say, probably opposed to the Sinn Féin strategy. But it can't be unnoticed of the election results here in the north over the last few days. Right now, we are now after 101 years since this little statelet that we are part of was formed. And it was formed basically against people like us, people like me, people like my family, to strive to get houses, to get jobs, to strive in life. And basically now, 101 years on, folks, Sinn Féin and the latest assembly election have come out as the biggest party in this part of the country. And the way things are looking in the south as well, when the next election comes around as well, Mary McDonald could soon be Taoiseach. So what like just let me think that in, folks, for a minute. Basically Sinn Féin being in power in north and south. As I say, I know there's a lot of people, a lot of friends I have as well watch this show that would be probably better opponents of Sinn Féin, and basically you're entitled to your rights and your views. I don't have not a problem out there, but say I will always kneel my colours to the mast. I am a proud supporter of Sinn Féin. I say a lot of their policies I don't agree with, but for me and my family, their way forward is definitely what I want. And just watching the results over the weekend, I personally thought that Sinn Féin would have lost one seat in West Belfast here, but they kept on all 4 of them, and basically didn't lose any. So obviously, you've all seen what a victory it was. So I think today there's only one song we can play, folks, to start off the show today. So there is, and we're actually we're going to play a bit of the Irish Brigade for the very first song of the afternoon, right? So we are, and I could risk myself basically getting cut off so early in the show on Facebook. But listen, we'll try it anyway. So let's say, go give us here a big shout out to Mary McDonald, to Michelle O'Neill, and all the rest of the leadership on what a fantastic result. And I'll accept the pelters, folks, if they're going to come from us. But listen, that's the way it is. So that's all I can say is Chucky Arla and Sinn Féin Abu.
It's the Sinn Féin men on that one-stop train. The deal has been done, the story's told. There's no turning back, take a look at the track. Can't you see it's green, white and gold? David Trimble standing there with the conductor, Tony Blair. He says, please stop the train and I'll be nice. But David, don't you mind, if I was you I'd look behind. Here comes wee Jeffrey with the knife. It's the Sinn Féin men on that one-stop train. The deal has been done, the story's told. There's no turning back, take a look at the track. Can't you see it's green, white and gold? Ian Paisley, that's your name, and you're welcome on this train. But it's a one-way ticket you've been sold. And if you start to shout, then we'll have to throw you out. And there's no discount for the old. It's the Sinn Féin men on that one-stop train. The deal has been done, the story's told. There's no turning back, take a look at the track. Can't you see it's green, white and gold? McRae stood there and cried with McCartney by his side. They're standing on the platform looking sore. You won't march where you want, we won't listen to your taunts. It's not an orange state anymore. It's the Sinn Féin men on that one-stop train. The deal has been done, the story's told. There's no turning back, take a look at the track. Can't you see it's green, white and gold? The whistle it is blown in every house and every home. The tricolor's flying all around. The engine it is stoked, the union it is broke, and it's fair paid in punch, not in pounds. It's the Sinn Féin men on that one-stop train. The deal has been done, the story's told. There's no turning back, take a look at the track. Can't you see it's green, white and gold? Now Tony's taking notes while Bertie counts the votes. Sinn Féin are on the rise again, and Trimble's blood will boil when the first stop is a dial, and 5 Sinn Féin TDs board the train. It's the Sinn Féin men on that one-stop train. The deal has been done, the story's told. There's no turning back, take a look at the track. Can't you see it's green, white and gold? Can't you see it's green, white and gold?
There we go, folks. Son of the Irish Brigade to say, hopefully that doesn't get us cut off too soon over Facebook. And I say, if you can just watch that, what's on screen now, folks. This is a tweet that was made, I think it was last night, by Piers Morgan, of all people. I think a lot of people will say how much this man is hated, you know what I mean? Especially over in this part of the world, for his comments about Trump and a lot of other things. But this is what this man has said. Piers Morgan: I don't think people fully understand the consequences of Sinn Féin's success. We're witnessing the impending, and I think now, inevitable collapse of the United Kingdom. That's coming from Piers Morgan, folks. And if that's coming from him, literally, what does that say? So where we go. Right, folks. So listen, as I did mention, we can't go through the day's show without mentioning the 35th anniversary this afternoon, folks. Today of the Loughgall ambush and the 8 volunteers. So we can't. So say 35 years ago today. So it is 1987, 2022. So we're going to be playing, I think, 4 songs here that I want to do. All 4 of them will be related to what happened in Loughgall. Folks, the sacrifice these guys made was just... it's very hard to put into words. So it is. And I mean, when you're looking, there's all sorts of documentaries and stuff that have been talked about Loughgall and how it happened and how could it have happened. And I think what you need to look at is this picture I'm going to put up here now tells the story, the truth of what happened in Loughgall and why these 8 men died on the streets that night. And this is basically the truth here, folks. As you can see, a man on the left hand side of the picture, who many trusted, and obviously throughout the years, there were so many informers and stuff that were involved in the Republican movement. But this guy here, I think rat doesn't even. It's too nice a word for him. and the one say woman on the other side of the picture, Maggie Thatcher, being absolutely single-handedly responsible for the deaths of the 10 hunger strikers, and with her shoot-to-kill policy, was the reason these eight men were murdered on the night. So it was. So as I say, we're going to play 4 songs over the next maybe half hour or something that will sort of resonate and sort of bring back the memories of basically what happened in Loughgall, right, folks? So listen, I'm just going to basically explain first what happened, and then what I want to do at the end of this here, do a minute's silence for the 8 volunteers, and then we're going to start playing the 4 songs. So on the 8th of May 1987, 35 years ago today, a unit from the East Tyrone Brigade of the IRA set out for a small village in County Armagh called Loughgall to carry out an operation against the RUC. Little did these brave volunteers know that their every move was being tracked. Their intended target was the RUC station in Loughgall, along with the officers inside. The station was in fact occupied by a regiment of the SAS, who had no intention of attempting to arrest these IRA volunteers, but instead had orders from the British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher to shoot to kill on sight. A firefight soon broke out, and soon the unit was ambushed from all angles by the SAS. 8 of these brave volunteers lay dead on the street, 7 from County Tyrone and 1 from County Monaghan. So folks, I'm going to call out now the roll of honour from Loughgall, and then at the end of this, I want us to do a minute's silence on this afternoon. Volunteer Padraig McKerney. Volunteer Seamus Stanley. Volunteer Jim Lena. Volunteer Eugene Kelly. Volunteer Paddy Kelly. Volunteer Declan Arthurs. Volunteer Tony Gormley. Volunteer Gerald O'Callaghan. So folks, can I have a minute's silence for the 8 Loughgall volunteers? Thank you. Right, folks, so now we're going to do is we're going to play 4 songs I want to do for the anniversary day of the Loughgall ambush. So the first one, we're going to play a song from, and I just want to keep the graphic on the screen, folks, throughout. The first song I want to play is from the Kappa Martyrs East Tyrone Remembers CD. Now this first song, it isn't specifically about Loughgall. The other 3 will be, but this song here, obviously, it was made and produced by family members and friends of all the volunteers from East Tyrone, and this song does mention the Loughgall ambush. So this here first song is called the Kappa Martyrs, and say this one was sung, basically and written by the friends and family of all of the volunteers who died in East Tyrone.
In a quiet Armagh village on the 8th day of May, 8 gallant Irish soldiers met misfortune that day as they went to blow about its brave men. With broken-hearted families and friends, we're all the same. The countryside was shattered with anger of such slain. But England must remember their lives were not in vain. We salute the other comrades who were killed with the lads. Although we didn't know them, we know they knew no bad. As they fought to free our country and rebel British law, we stand up and we salute you, for you fought for Ireland's cause. Now the townlands of Galway, their grief still remains. Without you, dear Seamus, the crack's not the same. And Jack will not forget you, nor big Tony too. With Eugene, their comrade, volunteers, we honor you. Volunteers, we honor you.
You go, folks. That was a song there from the East Tyrone Remembers, the Captain Martyrs CD, and that song is called the Galbally Martyrs. So that was the first one we're going to do today in memory of the 8 volunteers who died in Loughgall, folks, 35 years ago today. So we'll have 4 songs we're going to play. So we'll have over the next half hour or so. And I say, folks, it's very, very important that we remember this here. I think somebody mentioned there and says that was our Irish Holocaust. Derek Linear says, yep, nice tribute rule will always be remembered, never forgotten. I think when I put this picture up here, folks, I'll just put it on the screen again. Oh, let's get rid of this comments. It's hard to imagine, so it is, what this man did, you know. When you look at it, these 8 volunteers were ambushed that night because of his actions. You can say, all right, Maggie Thatcher gave the orders to shoot to kill on her policy, but what this man did, I'm not going to mention his name or whatever, but he's there, he's all in who he is, he's there for plain sight. Him and probably many, many other volunteers that were killed, ambushed, because of the actions of this man. Totally disgusting, folks, and sickening to think that one who you think one of your own would be capable of doing this. Right, so say the next song we're going to do, folks, is there's a song I always play on the show. So there is Paddy Kelly, the Praed Dungannon. Obviously, Paddy Kelly was the leader that night of the unit, so he was. I normally play Emer's version, so do play it many times. But today, I always sort of like to play the original versions of songs. And thanks, especially for this here. This man wrote the songs we did. PJ McDonald, and I think it's right we should play his version of the show on the show today. So this is the next song today, folks, in our segment. Remembering the 8 volunteers from Loughgall. So this is PJ McDonald with the Parade of Dungannon, a tribute to Paddy Kelly.
When I think of our soldiers and the battles they fought to tear down the rule of the crown, how my eyes fill with tears when it's brought to my ears of the men who'll ne'er be forgotten. In Carrickfergus, Paddy Kelly was born, at a time of injustice and pain, when his own native home had struggled and fought in the grip of those cold English chains. As he grew to a man, he saw at first hand the plight of his country around him, when those brave Irish soldiers, they laid down their lives in the depths of those cold H-block cells. From the teachings and words of the great Bobby Sands, for his country he took up the fight. For our brave Bobby Sands had given his life to gain Ireland's justice and right. So back to his family's hometown of Dungannon, he moved there to start a new life, and to take up the reins of his family's long history of rebels against England's might. He rose through the ranks of our bold IRA, from his humble beginnings well known, to the officer commanding that mighty brigade of the men from that great East Tyrone. Informers had tried and had miserably failed to lay down our volunteer load, but with discipline cool and calm dedication, our hero would strike one more blow. He trained up our bold volunteers to man, as his ancestors did long before him. For the blood in his veins, it ran just the same, with a longing for old Ireland's freedom. Then at Loughgall one day, when our bold IRA went bravely to fight for their freedom, an ambush was laid, with their lives they have paid, and our men fell in action forever. So we laid him to rest in old Eden dark, with the green sword and shamrock above him, where Kate and his children said one last farewell to a man they had all loved so dearly. From a family revered by the brave Thomas Clark in the days of that great Easter rising, came a true Irish son who from war never run, Paddy Kelly, the pride of Dungannon. Paddy Kelly, the pride of Dungannon.
There we go, folks. That was Paddy Kelly, the pride of Dungannon. That version there. So it was obviously the original one written by PJ MacDonald. So it was to say we normally play Emer's version on the show. So I always love to play that song featuring Paddy's granddaughter, Katie Kelly. But I think today, obviously, PJ wrote the song himself. I want to do his version. And so that's the second song we played, folks, today in our segment in memory of the 8 volunteers who were ambushed at Loughgall this day 35 years ago, folks. Listen, thanks for all the lovely comments coming through. It's really it's sort of put a lot of work into this week, folks, all the graphics and stuff, so I'm glad that you're sort of appreciating it, so thank you very much. I've had about 3 or 4 PMs just sent through there, really touching things what people have said, so thank you very much. What you're saying, folks, about today's show. Say it makes it all worthwhile doing this kind of stuff, you know, when you see people appreciate it and you're just showing up and playing a lot of just basically raw tunes to get everybody riled up. This show is more than that, or so as you know. I always will obviously remember our fallen volunteers, and there's when you think about the 8 volunteers from Loughgall, there's no bigger a tragedy. Obviously it was the biggest single loss of life in one operation for the IRA, so also it'll always be talked about, so it will. So yeah, we're going to play another song now. So this time here, folks, you might have seen me during the week. I'll be putting up asking people for a bit of advice on a song called the 8th of May. So how this sort of came about was, and I never heard this song before, so cheers to Paul Smith from South Derry. Paul, who I've known for a very, very long time now, involved obviously with the South Derry Martyrs flute band. That's how I sort of met Paul. I would count him as a very good friend of mine. He texted me last week and said, listen, are you going to be doing anything for Loughgall next Sunday? I said, of course, yeah, I'm definitely going to. He said, listen, I have a vinyl, so I do. All it says on is the 8th of May. There's no track listing, but there's no cover for the album or anything. So on one side was the B side was the Boys Over Brigade. On the A side was this track, the 8th of May. So he said, listen, could you basically put it on to try and get it converted to MP3 for me, so I can get it on the CD or like a USB or something. So I said, no problem. So he met me last week, gave me the vinyl, and obviously I got the record player hooked up in the studio here during the week, recorded it on the MP3, got it on. So it was easy enough. See, I'd never heard the song. It was my first time hearing the song when I played it through the vinyl, and just hearing that song crackling, you know, after so long, you knew it was a really, really old song. I love listening to vinyl when you hear just the crackle of it, you know. So I sent it then to Triona Kelly, who's the daughter of Paddy Kelly. Paul had asked me to send her a copy, so I sent it in literally within 5 minutes. She sent me a link back from YouTube. Says, "Oh, that's that song there." So it is. I've already heard that. She says, "But thanks for sending me it through." She says, "I knew." So all along, the song was actually on YouTube. So it was, and I had no idea. So it's a song. So it's called 8th of May, and as far as I know now, the band is called Shillelagh. But I say I've no idea where they were from, when they were about, if they're still going or not. So if anybody there, folks, that knows this band, it's called Shillelagh. Please let me know, because I'd love to hear a bit more about them. And say this song, it's a great tribute to the 8 volunteers from Loughgall. So we're going to play this one now. Say this one is called it's simply called the 8th of May, and it's from a band called Shillelagh. And I say that's why I put it out on. It sounds like the boys are made from Armagh or something. So it's like when you hear their voices, there's a bit of talking at the start, and then the song plays. So I say, if anybody knows anything about this band, when they were about, where they're from, does anybody know what was in the band? Let me know. Send me a wee PM and I'll maybe try and get in touch with them to find out a bit more about the song. But listen, this is what we're going to do now. This is the third song we're going to play today in memory of the 8 volunteers from Loughgall. This is Shillelagh with the 8th of May.
The 8th of May, it was the day. My heart was broken in dismay. 8 sons of freedom, brave and true, were murdered by a foreign crew. Loughgall Barracks was the place where these young men met face to face with British soldiers from a foreign land who shall never ever understand. They didn't realise that day they had taken such great men away. But these martyrs' names, they shall live on, and their fight for freedom be carried on and on, until all the soldiers, they are gone.
We salute the Loughgall martyrs today, those men from the East Tyrone Brigade. Brave men and true, they died for me and you, and their memory shall never be forgotten. Or that death service on the 8th day of May, in the village of Loughgall they were slain. outnumbered 10-1 against the British Huns. But their courage will never be forgotten. Paddy Carey from Dungannon town you came, for the free old Ireland was your aim. So you went out that night with Gun and Armalite. By your comrades you will never be forgotten. We salute the Lochgall martyrs today, those men from the East Tyrone Brigade. Brave men and true, they died for me and you, and their memory shall never be forgotten. Come the Moy, Jane Patrick so true, Jared O'Callaghan from Benbourg too. You both laid down your lives for the Irish cause that night, and your sacrifice will never be forgotten. Jim Lynott from Monaghan town, feared by the forces of the crown. Although you are gone, your vision will live on, and your deeds they will never be forgotten. We salute the Lochgall martyrs today, those men from the East Tyrone Brigade. Brave men and true, they died for me and you, and their memory shall never be forgotten. Eugene Kelly, Tony Gormley are gone, like Declan Arthur, your spirit will live on. And Seamus Donnelly, so young, a true Irish son. In Galway, they never will forget you. These eight martyrs of Ireland are gone, but the cause he died for lives on. By Wolftone's side, these men stand with pride. Athenrye never will forget you. We salute the Lochgall martyrs today, those men from the East Tyrone Brigade. Brave men and true, they died for me and you, and their memory shall never be forgotten. We salute the Lochgall martyrs today, those men from the East Tyrone Brigade. Brave men and true, sure they died for me and you, and their memory shall never be forgotten. No, their memory shall never be forgotten.
There we go, folks. That was the 8th of May, a track written and performed by a band called Shillelagh. I don't know a lot about the band, so I don't. So all I can say is, if anybody you do know about it, so cheers to Paul Smith for basically putting me on that there song. He contacted me last week and says that he had this track and basically could I transfer it onto like a CD or basically MP3 for him. I need to get hear something through here for this next song. So and I gladly done it during the week, but I said then I since found out from Triona that the track actually was on YouTube all along. So it was, that was a track there called the 8th of May, another tribute to the Lochgall Ambush scene. You hear it, the quality there, folks. You can tell that basically that there is it's so old because you can hear the crackling coming through the just in the background there, so you can. So I love hearing songs like that. There I am a bit of a vinyl buff, so I am. So when I started off doing the DJing, it obviously was with the doing all the rave or the dance stuff as you sort of people will call it nowadays. And there's nothing better than just putting a needle on a record, and just hearing that wee initial crackle before the song started off. So we are going to do one more song now, folks, and it's probably the most famous of all the songs related to Lochgall. So it is obviously it's a track written by Jerry Glacken, the legendary Jerry Glacken of the Irish Brigade, and the song's called The Lochgall Ambush. So it is really hear the sort of emotions when Jerry is singing this song. So it is, and it's, I think that this is probably the song that a lot of people relates to. So it is when you talk about what happened in Lochgall. So folks, here we go. We'll go do this one now. This is the last of the 4 songs that we're going to play in relating to the Lochgall Ambush, and this is the Irish Brigade, folks. from their album Songs of Fallen Heroes. This is the Irish Brigade with the Lockall Ambush.
Sung so many songs of fallen heroes. I really thought that I had said it all. But if a song can fill our hearts and raise our spirits, then we'll sing about our martyrs at Lockall. Well, the Irish nation bowed its head in sorrow. Such sadness has this country seldom known. For Monaghan had lost a gallant soldier, with 7 volunteers from Green Tyrone. Oh, England, do you really think it's over? If you do, you're going to have to kill us all. For until you take your murderers out of Ireland, we will make them rue the blood spilled at Lockall. It was on a warm and misty Friday evening. The scent of apple blossom filled the air. That village street seemed quiet and deserted. Oh, but hidden eyes were watching everywhere. Oh, the digger bomb had only reached its target. The trap was sprung and gunfire filled the air. The SAS did not want any prisoners. Oh, shoot to kill, their orders were quite clear. Oh, England, do you really think it's over? If you do, you're going to have to kill us all. For until you take your murderers out of Ireland, we will make them rue the blood spilled at Lockall. Well, they butchered 8 brave volunteers that evening. They were kicked and punched in case they were not dead. They dragged them up and down that Armagh village, and they filled their bodies full of British lead. Did you think it would teach us all a lesson? At such savagery the whole world was appalled. Oh, don't you know that there are 20 more men waiting for every one you butchered at Lockall? Oh, England, do you really think it's over? If you do, you're going to have to kill us all. For until you take your murderers out of Ireland, we will make them rue the blood spilled at Lockall. Farewell to Paddy Kelly and Jim Lina. No more you lead your fighting unit forth. Side by side of Padraig McKerney and Tony Gormley, you died to drive the British from the north. Declan Arthurs and the youthful Seamus Donnelly, on that night you were the youngest of them all. Jerry O'Callaghan and the gallant Eugene Kelly, oh, your blood still stains the pavements at Lockall. Oh, England, do you really think it's over? If you do, you're going to have to kill us all. For until you take your murderers out of Ireland, we will make them rue the blood spilled at Lockall. We will make them rue the blood spilled at Lockall.
There we go, folks. That sounds of the Irish Brigade there for you with the Lockall Ambush, folks. So that today is my short, but I think just right sort of dedication to the 8 volunteers who were ambushed by the SAS, folks, at Lockall 35 years ago today, folks, on the 8th of May. So listen, thank you very much to all of you who have sent me all the lovely comments through either PM or on the screen here. Very, very much appreciated, folks. And I say it does help when you put a bit of work into something like this here. The people do appreciate it. So thank you very much. There we go. So let's see. We'll just jump through here. Martin Heaney says, I have a few old Rebel records here. I'll lend you them to listen to, and you can convert them too if you want. Not sure what they are because they're buried in a box upstairs. I'll hook them out for you. Terry Craney says, yeah, well done, Ro. Great tribute. Thank you very much. Right, folks, so about 2:15, we're going to have today's guest live on the screen. Joey Bracken from, obviously, former frontman and founding member of the legendary Glasgow rebel band, Athenrye. So Joey is over in Lanzarote at the minute, sunning himself. It's probably as warm here now in West Belfast as it is in Lanzarote, probably. So, yeah, we'll hope we getting Joey on the phone, or not the phone. See, I keep thinking we've jumped forward now we're well past the phone. That was so last year. So it was. Now we're on the screen. We're see all these here busy tips and stuff and donations people are giving me every week, folks. It helps I can get better software and do something like this here, you know. So yeah, it's great. I think we're doing the interviews. It really helps when you have somebody in front of you. You know who you're talking to, and obviously the listeners yourselves and the viewers can see who it is we're talking to. So yep, that's why we're doing the interviews like that now. Right, so yeah, John Boy McElhenney, a fitting tribute, Joe. Thank you very much, John Boy, much appreciated. Right, so we'll go to the next song of the day, folks. Here we go. This is a track from probably one of my favourite Irish rebel bands, Callie's Men from Derry, folks. So you all know us here track. And this one obviously was written, so it was all about when you look at the era of the bin lids and stuff, with basically people getting warned about the cops and Brits were coming, and people getting dragged out of their houses. The whole era of armoured cars, tanks and stuff. Armoured cars and bricks and stones, tanks and guns, and all that there, you know. Neil Costigan says, Ro, wonderful tribute to those 8 boys executed by SAS. Thanks for your efforts and hard work putting together. Not a problem, mate. Say it's all for using, folks. So I'm glad you enjoyed it. Well, not enjoyed it. You can't enjoy something like that, but I think people will find a lot of sort of it's touching, you know, on a day like this. Right. So here we go. This is the Callie's Men from Derry, folks, on Rebel Sundays.
The law, we call it internment, apartheid, partition, conscription, and silence. It's the law that they use to keep you and me where they make people belong. They hide behind steel with bulletproof glass, machine guns and spies. And to tell us who suffer the tear gas torture, moving to wrong. Well, there's no time for love if they come in the morning. No time to show tears about fears in the morning. No time for goodbye, no time to ask why. When the sun of the siren is the cry of the morning. They suffered the torture, rotted in cells, they went crazy, wrote letters and died. And the limits of pain they endured, it was loneliness got them instead. And the courts give them to justice as given by one man of thugs. And sometimes they fought for the will to survive, and most times just to wish they were dead. Well, there's no time for love if they come in the morning. No time to show tears about fears in the morning. No time for goodbye, no time to ask why. When the sun of the siren is the cry of the morning. They came for young Francis Hughes and his cousin Thomas McElway as well. Like they came for Patsy O'Hara, Tony Taylor and some of their friends. In Boston, Chicago, Saigon, San Diego, Palestine, Iraq, Afghanistan, Bogota, Derry, and Belfast. And those places, they never made headlines, list never ends. Well, there's no time for love if they come in the morning, no time to sow seeds of our fears in the morning, no time for goodbye, no time to ask why. In the sun of the siren is the cry of the morning. Your sisters and brothers, the world defy you charm. Well, they say you get used to the war, and that doesn't mean that there's war isn't on. For the fish need the sea to survive, like your people need you. And those death squads can only get to them if first you can get through to you. Well, there's no time for love if they come in the morning, no time to sow tears about fears in the morning, no time for goodbye, no time to ask why. And the sun of the siren, sun of the siren, sun of the siren is the cry of the morning.
There we go, folks. Sound of Kelly's Men there from Derry. Great band with No Time for Love. This is Rebel Sundays, folks, on the Rebel podcast. Myself, Ro, here from 1 to 4 every Sunday afternoon, live, folks, multi-streaming on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter at the same time. Cheers to all the new followers and viewers who are watching today from TikTok. I know I put out during the week. I'll put a wee link up, folks, soon. I want to start doing a lot of live stuff on TikTok. It's basically another platform, folks, you can get the show out on. But basically, you need to have 1,000 subscribers on TikTok before you can go live. So, they're slowly but surely, gradually building up. So they are. So what I'll do is I'll get a wee graphic put up here, and I'll put the link up on the screen. So if any are on TikTok, if you can just go and obviously type it in and give me a wee follow, it'd be much appreciated. We'll try and get as many people as possible on the TikTok, and then we can. Just as we're talking about TikTok, there's so many messages being now. So they're obviously watching the show, but they're sending me messages on TikTok. So they are. So there you go, folks. Yep. So right, what we're going to do next? We're going to do a song now. For obviously during the week there as well. It was the anniversary of Bobby Sands' death, folks. So it was this will be the 41st anniversary this year. So we'll do this song, and then we'll hopefully get Joey on I keep saying phone. Go get Joey on the screen in the next 10 or 15 minutes, and we'll do his interview, and then we're going to do 3 songs from Athenrye as well. So really looking forward to this one today. I say Joey has a great story to tell, folks. He's had a great life, so he has. There's a few QB stories that we'll get into during his interview. So right, this one here, we're going to do a song called "The People's Own MP," and the version I'm going to play, I say because last week fell obviously of Bobby's death. So the version I'm going to play is from Cruncher. I say great friend of the show, Cruncher. As I say, he's still not out of the woods yet. He's still pretty say not great in the minute with his health in hospital. So we'll do this here dedicated to the legendary Terry Cruncher O'Neill. So this is folks on Rebel Sundays, Cruncher with the People's Own MP.
How many more must die now? How many must we lose until the island people their own destiny can choose. From immortal Robert Emmett to Bobby Sands MP, who was given 30,000 votes while in captivity. He was a poet and a soldier. He died courageously, and we give him 30,000 votes while in captivity. Thomas Ice, he gave everything in 1917. The Lord Mayor of Cork, McSweeney, died for his freedom to obtain. Never one of all our dead died more courageously than young Bobby Sands from Twinbrook, the people's own MP. He was a poet and a soldier. He died courageously, and we give him 30,000 votes while in captivity. Oh, Mark, he'll hear the lark's sweet notes upon the Ulster Air, or gaze upon the snowflake pure, for to calm his deep despair. Before he went on hunger strike, young Bobby did compose the rhythm of time, the weeping winds and the sleeping rose. He was a poet and a soldier. He died courageously, and we give him 30,000 votes while in captivity. Forever we'll remember him, the man who died in pain, that his country north and south might be united once again. To mourn him is to organize and build the movement strong, with ballad box and arm alliance and with music and with song. He was a poet and a soldier. He died courageously, and we give him 30,000 votes while in captivity. Oh, a poet and a soldier, and died courageously, and we give him 30,000 votes while in captivity.
There we go, folks. Legend indeed. Terry Cruncher O'Neill with his version there of the People's Own MP. Of course, remembering this week Bobby Sands, folks, on the 41st anniversary of his death. Lots of things that obviously commemorate on this week's show. It's a very busy show this week. So cheers for sticking with us, folks. Lots of shares on Facebook, so thank you very much to all of you. James McClave says, yep, 41 years later, we can all see what the power of the vote can accomplish. I think it's something there I put up on Thursday, the morning of the election, folks. Obviously, I put up basically a banner. It was sort of promoting, obviously, Michelle O'Neill and Sinn Féin, urging people to come out and vote. And obviously, I said, because Thursday was the anniversary of Bobby's death, so it was. And his famous saying is, she's bloody head nice, what it is? Nah, it's going to. I shared this the other day with us, but the gist of it was basically saying that those children today, and I'm sure somebody will come up there and put this in the comments and go, I'm having a brain fart, so it is. I was more or less saying, yep, today those children can come and make history, and I think they did. So obviously all those children that Bobby was talking about, in that they're saying are of age now to be able to vote, and look at what they've done. Do you know what I mean? It's you can say what you want about Sinn Féin. I know say there's people here. It'll be in the posts and stuff, saying about they're traitors and this and that. Listen, like, when you look at it now, there it is there. Kieran, thank you very much, and Leo as well. Our revenge will be the last for our children. Just clear in my head, so I'm very, very sorry. That's what it said. So when I put my post the other day, it said, this is basically the 41st anniversary of Bobby's death today. And today, basically, his saying, our revenge will be the last of our children, has no bigger meaning. Those children can go and make history, and they did. And folks, look, when you look at the vote that went out there, to get Sinn Féin now on the biggest, obviously, political party in this country, and potentially north and south, it's groundbreaking, so it is. And again, I'm just going to put this back to this here. Just look at this here tweet that this balloon put out. He may be a balloon, an idiot, but you can't not listen to it when he speaks. Piers Morgan. I don't think people fully understand the consequences of Sinn Féin's success. We're witnessing an impending, and you think now, inevitable collapse of the United Kingdom. So there you go, Jeffrey. Stick that in up your hole and smoke it. Folks, right, so listen, what we're going to do, we're going to play the first of the tracks from Athenrye, and then we're going to have Joey on the screen. So we are. So let's just see a couple more comments here. I'll just put them in, see who was talking. Let's see. Patrick Main says, everyone, Republican in other ways, has their own particular part to play. No part is too great, too small. No one is too old or young, do something. Let's see. What is Aaron? Oh, Aaron, what's the crack? Aaron, I hope all is well. Car, have a cracking show up the fucking shinners, indeed. Cheers, mate. Lovely words as always. Right, so say we're going to do the first of the Athenrye songs, and then we're going to get Joy on the line on the screen. So we're going to say they've released several albums. Basically, what I'm going to do today is play the songs that Joy is singing on the class. He didn't sing all the songs, but he sung a few of the ballads, and it's some of the ones that I personally myself like. So that's why I'm going to do these ones. So this first one we're going to do from Athenrye's album, The Dan Rebel. Obviously, it was a few years old when the band was still out. So this song we're going to play is called Gallipoli. So this, and just when I play this here, I want to think of someone really special, of the late great from over in Hamilton, Frank McCann. Who their local Card and Hearn company is named after now. Great friends Jane and Francis. It's their father, and basically when I had Fra on the podcast there a couple of years ago, he was speaking about his first memories of Republican music, and he was talking about his dad, and he said whenever he was ever out in his dad Frank's van, actually even when he was a plumber, but it wasn't, he brought him out during the summer to work with him, he always had this song on, and it would have been actually the Irish Brigade version that he played, but this is what the one we'll do. So this one here is the first song today of before we do Joey Bracken's Joey Bracken's interview. This is the Athenrye folks with the ballad of Gallipoli. Absolutely fantastic song, this one.
I remember the day, it stands clear in my mind. We went down to Dunleavy to wave you goodbye. Your man was quietly weeping, there was a tear in my eye. You're sailing to Gallipoli to die. You looked so young as you stood there with a glint in your eye. You sang rebel songs as the streamers flew high. Your ma, she turned away I heard a sigh. You're sailing to Gallipoli to die. But you were all that we had, your mommy and me. When you marched head the red, you looked proud as can be. But it killed your puma, and it's slowly killing me. When you were blown to kingdom come on the shores of Gallipoli. We got only one letter, we knew right away. It's the deepest regret. Your son was bold and he was brave. He was only 19, it is mommy and I. Then I'm sailed to Gallipoli to die. Well, you were all that we had, your mommy. When you marched head the red, you looked proud as can be. But it killed your puma, and it's slowly killing me. When you were blown to kingdom come on the shores of Gallipoli. You fought for the wrong country, you fought for their wrong cause. And your man always said it was Ireland's great loss. All the fine young men who marched to foreign shores to fight the war, when the greatest war of all was at home. Well, you were all that we had, your mommy and me. When you marched head the red, look proud as can be. But it killed your puma, and it's slowly killing me. When you were blown to kingdom come on the shores of Gallipoli. Well, you were all that we had, your mommy and me. When you marched head the red, you looked proud as can be. But it killed your
right, so we haven't got Joey here yet. Hopefully we'll be through any second. So I've sent him the link. Hopefully he won't be too long. Before he's let's get that off there. The next song are coming on to us. Yeah, folks, that was the first of today's songs for Joey Bracken from Athenrye. So it was, and that was a great song. Gallipoli, and we'll obviously talk about the Joey all about their song. So we'll eventually get him on. Folks, we say this is Rebel Sundays on the Rebel podcast with myself, Ro. Folks, we're here every single Sunday from 1 to 4. Every 2 weeks we'll have a guest on, and then the second week it's just myself for the 3 hours with just the music. So say today we're back with the guests, and just wait and Joey jumping on the screen here. Hopefully he won't be too long. We'll get him on. I'm just trying to fill a bit of our time here while he's before we get him on. Right, so folks, I'll just mention as well about my gig that's going to be happening in the end of December, or sorry, the first week in December. Obviously, it was well documented, but the big one was meant to be happening in the Balmoral Hotel, the big fans gathering, but unfortunately, the hotel shit themselves, and it fell through, and left me in the shit big time, but sort of thought that we weren't going to get nothing happening, but obviously, the Rock Bar came to the rescue, so they have, and we are going to go and get a night after all. So folks, tickets for this gig are £10. Only 150 tickets available due to the size of obviously of the venue. So they're flying through. It looks good. That's sold already. So if you want to go, folks, just there's the wee ticker along the bottom of the screen. Just check it, and you'll be able to see it's rebelpodcast.bigcartel.com. And you can buy your tickets there through either PayPal or credit card or debit card. If you don't use any of them, you want me to use Revolut, or basically send me a bank transfer or something, send me a PM and I can arrange to get the tickets in that way for you. Or if you don't use anything like that there and you just want to pay cash, again, send me a PM. If you're local, I can get the tickets sort of left for you, and I can go and pick the money up or something like that there, so I can. So we'll We'll arrange something and say, folks, it's going to be a great night. So I'm honoured and privileged to have the lads from Clover and County Limerick come to the headline the show as they did last year. They're coming all the way from Limerick for this one gig. Going to be at the Rock Bar. So I know it was a long ambition of theirs to play in West Belfast. So it was. We got to do that last year. That other ambition was to eventually play a gig in the Rock Bar. So that's what will be happening this year. So although it'll be upstairs, so it will, in the bigger room. But obviously we're on the Sunday, and we are going to be having once again the after party. So on Sunday, the 4th of December, we're going to have the official after party from the big sort of fans reunion party. So it's upstairs in the Rock Bar from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. We're going to be doing a live broadcast, folks. We are on basically the podcast, put it live throughout the afternoon. Plus we'll be hopefully having a few guest singers throughout that as well. So that's free admission, and then obviously hopefully we'll all head downstairs for Rebel Sundays. So also just on that there, hopefully we'll have Joey here with us now, right? I think he just popped in. Let's see, 2 seconds. Look at this off. Let's see. Backgrounds, right. There we go, like magic. Well, Joey, can you hear me?
I can, yeah. How are you, everybody? All right?
Good man yourself. Hopefully your Wi-Fi is decent enough and it won't be freezing. We had a Tony Coleman last week.
Yeah, perfect.
Right, can you hear me okay? Yes? Happy days. Right,
I can hear you okay.
We're joined... We're joined today by Joey Bracken, folks. Obviously, he was one of the former founding members and one of the frontmen from the legendary Irish rebel band Athenrye. Obviously, no longer going. Joey joins us live from the sunny climates of Lanzarote this afternoon. What's the weather like over there today, Joey?
It's lovely. The sun is burst in the sky. It's great, really warm. The last couple of days has been really, really good, you know.
It's actually not too bad over here as well. We're having a good bit of sun in West Belfast today, which is great. So listen, Joe, welcome along to the show. So you were born in the Liberties area of Dublin after you grew up in Whitehall in North Dublin. So we're going to be sort of getting through a lot. So there's a great story to tell here. So firstly, tell me about growing up in North Dublin, and also obviously at the early stages, from getting some background information from you, you sort of name dropped the late, great Luke Kelly and your first story. So tell me obviously a bit about growing up and how you first came, your first sort of involvement with Luke.
Well, I was born in the Liberties in Dublin. I didn't live there for long, but I was born there, and it was a great place to be born, you know. And we moved out to the north side when I was probably about 2 or 3 years of age, you know. We moved around, like, my father worked for the corporation, and I grew up in Whitehall. It was like every other game, you know. We done what everybody else done, you know, fighting, you know, the usual, you know, avoiding fighting, more fighting, everything, you know, the normal situation. But I remember looking at, on a Saturday night in Dublin, it was hard, you know, because Val Doonigan used to be on at 6 o'clock. He used to drive you mad. My cat wants to be on the podcast. This is Angel.
Yeah, what do you call the cat?
Angel.
Angel.
He's the most angelic cat you've ever met in your life. Are you allowed coursing this thing, Rudy? No.
Yes, just admit you can say whatever you want. I don't care. Say what you want.
But I grew up in Whitehall, but I remember Saturday nights, you know, like we went in a real modern family. We didn't have cars or televisions or that, you know. My parents were really strict, you know, and but they were good, you know. Don't get me wrong, they were good people, you know. But like, I wasn't sure you get the odd bait, you know what I mean? But like on a Saturday night, we had you used to look at the television, like when we eventually got a television, and Val Doonigan was on, and then Nana Muscuri. I absolutely hated her, by the way. And then Andy Williams was on. But then there used to be a thing on called Opportunity Knocks, you know. And we sound old like saying this, but I heard a song on it. It was Bernie Flint. And I knew straight away that that's what I wanted to do. I just seen something in the guy, you know, how he portrayed himself, you know, singing. And, you know, to me, it was a beautiful moment. And you get them, if you ask any musician, you know, any musician that's worth their salt, and not an egotistical musician, you know, because there's a few of them about as well, right? But anybody that really loves music, and I just felt it in me then, And like I remember going sick from school when I was 12, you know, and my mother, the Lord of Measure, I looked out the window, I was pretending I was sick, you know, and they knew I wasn't sick. And she came in and she gave me a guitar, you know. And by the time that day was over, I could play it, you know. And
Seriously?
anyway,
Okay.
yeah, I could. Well, I could, you know, like I mean, I wasn't proficient, but I could get a tune, you know, out of it, you know. And like, I mean, that was probably the only time I could ever do that, you know what I mean? But I remember I broke a string, you know, and I didn't know what to do. And Luke Kelly, his mother lived around the corner from me, you know. And I didn't really know who they were, you know. I knew he was a big imposing type of a man, you know. So I went around to the mother's house and knocked at the door. And she says, what? And I says, is your son in?
What?
And she goes, I says, yeah. She says, yeah. I says, I'm not breaking the string big hard. I don't know what to do, you know. So she said, come in, you know. And Luke Kelly was sitting in the corner with his brothers. John, who sadly died there a couple of weeks ago, a lovely, lovely fella. And all the Kelly brothers were as good singers as Luke, you know, they really were.
Yeah.
But Luke was sitting there and he was looking at me, and Luke was kind of a hard shot, you know. And he says, what do you want? And he says, I'm not breaking the string on my guitar, you know. He said to me he would fix the string if I sang him a song, you know. And the only song I knew was that Match That Cats and Dogs. Remember that thing? They sold for Smoky Cups. And I sang it, and Luke Kelly said to me, that was shite. And I said, come here, you, I'm only 12. But they were all sitting drinking bottles of stout. I think the mother gave me a bottle of stout, you know. But I got to know Luke, you know, and he put a banjo string on my guitar, you know. And like, he'd be walking down the road. My mother, you know, probably loved Luke Kelly, but she didn't like my association with him because Luke was a big drinker, you know. And I was only a youngster. But any time I seen Luke, you know, he'd always say hello to you, you know. And I met him a couple of times in the pubs, you know, in Dublin. And he'd always say to you know, how are you getting on? He was a lovely fella, you know, lovely fella. Great, great singer. He was a big socialist. He was more of a communist. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And but he like his politics was there, but like he had a hard life, you know. He like I know myself because I haven't drank in 11 years, right? I haven't had a drink in 11 years, and you know, the drinking that we done like as a band with myself and the lads, and you know, I kind of overdone it. Like they used to call me Joey Two Sups, so I'd have like 10 points every 3 they'd have, you know. And Luke was like that as well. And that's the downfall, the pits, you know. That like them boys would be sitting. You know, it happens at every level of music, unless you don't drink, you know what I mean? And you know, that was Luke's downfall. Because like he was in that environment all the time. Yeah, listen, come here. None of them boys would ever complain of it, and none of us ever complained about it. And no musician that I know has ever complained about it. But sometimes it catches up with you, you know.
Oh yeah, like so many. Because, yep, definitely. It catches up in the end with you, you know. Yeah.
But I knew Luke anyway, and you know, I didn't know him that well, you know. But I'm glad to say that, like, every time he'd see me go, how are you, you know, and I'd say how are you to him. So there was a kind of a mutual kind of respect there. I think he admired me a little bit because I had the balls to go up and ask him, you know, and because he, you know, he wasn't coming to, he was acting the bollocks with me, you know what I mean? Yeah, but he was sound as a pound, and he encouraged me, and he said to me, you know, he said to me after that day, he says, keep at it, you know. He says, I like what I see, and that kind of meant an awful lot to me, you know, to have that.
Sure would, yeah.
But like I played, yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
At that there time, did you actually know like who Luke Kelly was and the magnitude of the man, like that when you were that age? But did you know like who it was? Like you obviously knew who you were talking to, but did you sort of have an idea of like what he was like?
I kind of did. Like I didn't, you know, I wouldn't be as clued up today back then, but I knew that he played in the band, and I knew that they were quite successful. I'll tell you another story about Luke. Right, I met him one day, you know, and years ago there was a big campaign going on. I don't know if you remember. There's a place in Dublin called Wood Quay, and it was a Viking settlement, right? And the developers came in, right? You know the developer. They've ruined Ireland, right? And what annoys me, I'm not getting into politics or anything, but you know, nobody stood and challenged them because it was all the backhanders and the brown envelopes. You know what I'm talking about, really, right? And basically what they did was they demolished. Well, there was nothing to demolish. It was an excavation site, but they built them big towers on it. And if you go back to Peter and John Wright, and this was even before this happened, like, you know, the years of maybe, but I can no longer stand the towers going up along the quay. Well, this was happening at the time, right? And Peter and John had the foresight to write about that before it even happened, right? But Luke said to me one day, You know, I used to cycle all over the place, and he says to me one day, he says, "Come here, we're playing in Wood Key tomorrow, you know, for the thing. Come on down, you know." And I says, "I will, you know." And it was a lovely sunny day, and I got on my bike and I cycled down to Wood Key, and the Dubliners were supposed to arrive at 2 o'clock. Now, this would have been the first time that I had ever seen them collectively, you know. And we went down, and there was a big crowd there, and that's where I'm from, the Liberties, right? This was at the start of the Liberties. And we were waiting there for half an hour. Hey, or not, waiting there for an hour, no sign of the Dubliners. 2 hours, no sign of the Dubliners. 3 hours, no sign of the Dubliners. And there was a big, they were after making a kind of a stage in the middle of this wasteland, right? It was like a gallows. That's what it was like, honest to God. You know, it was only missing the hangman's rope, right? You know, it was a hastily put together stage, but it was like a gallows. And I'll never forget it. And the next thing, a big limousine arrived, you know. And Barney McKenna fell out of the limousine, and Luke Kelly fell out after him. And we're going, a big chair goes up, you know, here's the Dubliners. And they looked at the scaffold, right? But that's what it was.
How are we getting up there?
They looked at the scaffold, they walked over to it. Barney McKenna put one foot on the first step. They turned around, got back into the limousine and fucked off. And I said to Luke the next day, I says, "What happened to you yesterday?" You know, he was walking down the road. And he says, "What happened to you yesterday?" And he just went, "Oh," and walked away, you know what I mean? But like that was, I never seen the Dubliners collectively playing, you know. But the one time I went to see them playing, they didn't turn up. They were all looking at Dubliners who's having a session in readiness for the play.
It must be like probably like a North Dublin thing, because see that sort of story you're telling me here. It reminds me of like the I wouldn't say I'd be pretty friendly with, but I've met and played a few gigs with Christy Dignam, Maslans will have, right? Met the guy a few times, and exactly the same mentality there. So it was like, obviously they're like a super big massive band, like. But see, when a lot of the stories he was telling me about gigs I got there, they done exactly the same thing. They would just all just show up, either cooked out of their heads, blocked or whatever it was, and half of them it didn't even do, like, you know what I mean? It was just like, fucking frig that, we're not gonna, and jump back in the car again, like. So it
happens. I don't think it ever happened to Athenrye. I mean, I was in some terrible states with drink. I know that, you know. And like I remember one time we were playing in America and there was a hurricane going on, and we arrived at the gig at like fucking 2:30 in the morning because that was it. But everybody was there, and by the time we got there, they were all in an awful state. You know what I mean? But it was a great gig. But I don't think I know when I went solo, a lot of it was kind of, you know. You meet people, you know, you're very popular when you're in bands, right? And you meet people, and they all want a piece of you. Have a point, have a point, have a point, have a point, you know. And sometimes it was more the case, and I can understand. I know Christy and I know Billy McGuinness very well. Billy's a good friend of mine from Aslan. And, you know, when you get that much drink into you, it kind of probably changes your attitude towards the whole thing. And you can't be arsed. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Or you give a bad account of yourself, you know. It happens to everybody. You read about it. I mean, I've read some books about bands, you know. I'm not mad into reading books about bands, but I've read books about bands. And every band tells the same story, you know. There's drinking, there's fighting, there's women, there's all sorts of things, you know.
Yep.
So, that, you know, but now I'm at an age now where, you know, I love music now. I've always loved music, right? But I love music now more than ever, right? And there's like things used to annoy me about music, you know, like I'm out here living on a tourist island, right? And you know, excuse me, mate, can you play Brown Eyed Girl? You know, I'm like, you fucking go away. You know, it's like there's always something. You need to have a strong constitution to be a musician. You really do, you know. And that's without all the backbiting and the bullshit and the lick ass and all, you know. I'm not going to get into that today, really, but you know what I'm talking about, right?
I know well about it because I've seen in this sort of industry with the rebel scene, I've sort of I know what sort of a lot of backstabbing and stuff can happen. I mean, it's well rife.
Well, here's what Joey Bracken's going to say about all that, right? See, half of them are backstabbing. You come here, like, they need to take a look at themselves in the mirror. You know, that's all I'm going to say about it, right? Because you know, some of them are so far up their own arse, it's unbelievable, you know. But we can all be guilty of that sometimes, you know. Look, at the end of the day, Republican music is about the people that you're singing about. It's not about Joey Bracken or such and such or such and such or such and such. My mother, you know, I grew up as an Irishman, right? I am an Irishman. I'm a proud Irishman, you know. with all the backbiting and stuff that goes on that scene, it nearly put me off being a proud Irishman. That's true as God, you know what I mean? But like, my earliest memories is my mother singing to me, you know, at Corton's door one wintry night as the snow lay on the ground, and telling me stories about things that happened in Ireland, you know, and, you know, stuff that she could recall. You know, my mother, you know, she wouldn't have been an out-and-out Republican, but Republicanism was in her heart, if you know what I mean. And it was in the heart of all the people then, because our country went through an awful lot, you know what I mean? And, you know, I always maintained, like, right till to this day, you know, especially in the south of Ireland, in the Free State, as they like to call it, right? You used to get this bullshit, you know, about the old IRA. And, you know, I always, you know, remember that the struggle was about, you know, what was happening now, what had happened in the past. There was no differentiation between, you know, I hated that. Oh, I don't like that crowd now, what they're doing now, you know what I mean?
Yep.
It's very easy to talk about stuff like that, you know. But when I remember my mother singing Irish Soldier Laddie to me, or Irish Soldier Boy, you know, that's one of the best memories of my life. I was listening before I come on, and you played a song that I sang years ago, Gallipoli. And
I was actually just going to ask you about our song next show was.
Well, what I'll tell you about that was, there's a verse in that where it goes, you know, we stood at Dunleary and waved you goodbye. Now, it's not Gallipoli. I wasn't going to Gallipoli, or I wasn't going to lose my life, you know, fighting for the IRA or fighting for the army or whatever, you know. But I remember my mother put me on a ship at Dunleary when I was 12 years of age. And I was going away to England with the Scouts, right?
Right.
When we got there, we robbed the place blind. But anyway, I probably shouldn't say that. But I remember my mother waving to me, you know, and that moment is always captured in my heart. The same as when she sang to me at Cortland's door one wintry night. My mother's favourite song was the Loch Shiel and Eviction, right? So you could see that she had pain in her heart for what had happened to my country. But just going back to that, when she waved to me, when I sang that song, and when I recorded that song, and every time I sing that song, when I sing that verse, you know, we stood at Dunleary and waved you goodbye, I think of my mother, you know. And even though I was just going away, I was 12 years of age. And at that age, I'd never been away from my mother before. So there's going to be tears. And then I tried to transpose that into what that would be like if I was going away to fight in a war. Or going back to the song, you know, with loving arms around my waist, she tied my bandolier. Mothers will always have that thing with you, you know. So I kind of got my Republican or my nationalist identity from my mother, if you know what I mean, because I knew that it was in her heart, you know.
Yeah, definitely. So say that's we're going to talk about the Gallipoli song before we do the next one. So listen, we're going to play another song now, Joe Rich. We'll take a wee break from the interview. But so I wanna
okay, no problem.
About this. No, listen, but before we go into it, so obviously one of the most played albums that I do in the show is the Athenrye's live the Glasgow Barlands. Absolutely love this album, sorry. Just I love the sort of energy and particular and the drumming in it. For me, obviously being a sort of lately where I say percussionist, I just love a lot of bands that have drummers in, you know what I mean? But I think the drumming in this album is just it's phenomenal. The drummer, obviously, you guys had, and I believe that he was with the Blarney Pilgrims as well. Same drummer, is it?
At one stage, yeah, James McKinley, yeah.
Yeah. So I just love the particularly when you do the first song, this album. But, the one we're going to do is it's a place I had the privilege of playing there on Easter Saturday, across McLean. Obviously the songs, the Fighting Men across McLean. Say I wanted to do 3 of the songs that you sort of sung on these various albums. So that's why we're going to do this one here. So firstly, tell me a wee bit about obviously not every band has got the privilege to play at the Barlands. So I mean, obviously Charlie and the Boys will do it now, basically every couple of times a year. But I mean, when you look at real rebel bands, what I sort of say, to me, Charlie and the Boys aren't a real rebel band. I mean, they're a Celtic band. But I mean, obviously Shebeen done it once, and I think they weren't invited back again, so they weren't after their first gig. But you've recorded an album here at this gig. So firstly, tell me about playing in the Barlands, and then about this particular song.
Okay. The Barlands, I think we were the first band to play in the Barlands, you know, to do an actual gig ourselves. It was a great gig. The album was we had to record the album on the night, and we actually recorded the album in the studio. and then we recorded it on the night, and we kind of synced the two of them together. But there was a problem on the night. It's funny this, not a lot of people know this, and we had to go back to the Barrowlands to record it again. And the Barrowlands was a cold place, right? And on the actual video, we're sweating. The sweat is dripping off us. You can imagine it was really hot.
Yeah.
But when we went back to record again, it was a thing about lighting, and we had to recreate the atmosphere that was going on, and we could do all that. We could do all that, right? But like the sweat, so they had to throw water on us. It was Glasgow. It's minus fucking, you know what I mean? And I remember, people throwing water on me, and I just wanted to kick them, But I mean, that was a funny side of it, But the Barrowlands, the album, when you're playing them, anybody, Shebeen will tell you the same. And I know Alan and Pat very well. They're very good friends of mine, and they would tell you the same. When you're in these situations, a lot of it goes over your head because you're caught up in the euphoria of it all. But like when you go in there, I'd say the sound, there's a big difference from playing live on the day, and there's a big difference from being in there when it's empty, And basically, what I remembered about the Barrowlands, and we played the Barrowlands a lot, right? We played a lot of times in the Barrowlands. But what I remembered about the Barrowlands was you go in and you do a sound check and everything sounds all right. And the lads will tell you, if you ask Alan Quinn, he'll tell you the same thing. You can hear the sound booming back from the walls at you. But when you go in there and the place is full, you can hear nothing. And you're just kind of hoping. You're just kind of hoping for the best. And it doesn't matter because, I always maintain all through my life when you're playing music, it doesn't matter whether you're playing your own or you're playing in the band. If you're getting your message across to the people, right, and they're enjoying it, you'll enjoy it. It's a two-way street, So anytime I was ever in the Barrowlands, I enjoyed it. It was great to go in there playing. You're playing in front of 2,000 or 3,000 people or whatever it is. We played bigger gigs than that, But the Barrowlands were good because it was what they would call in Glasgow was a homer, and all your mates are coming and, you have a great time. But, it kind of goes by in a flash, it really does. You spend more time thinking about it before and after than you actually do doing it. Do you know what I mean?
Doing the gig, yeah. That's it. So much.
But the album was, we had to be on the top of our game because when we recorded the album, there's a difference between recording and live. You know yourself, right? But I myself personally, I'm a bit of a bleeding panicky fucker, right? I thought it was too condensed. I hate everything being. I'd rather have a live back. I'd rather, be singing and make a mistake or, than everything being so condensed, But the album was brilliant. The gig was brilliant. The video was brilliant. It all worked out. But I just felt like, when you're in that sort of thing, it's a bit robotic, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So see this particular song in Cross McGlen, this is one we're going to play now.
Yeah.
It's obviously it's a massive Republican ballad, obviously all about a real legendary place in the north here. So tell us just a wee bit about this here track, The Fighting Men Across McGlen.
Well, first of all, I've got family across McGlen who will remain, a secret because they're a bunch of fucking they're good people. Look, if you wanted to go into the struggle that was going on in Ireland, I mean, you couldn't find a more, place that was involved in the struggle. There was different genres. There was different struggles going on. You know yourself, you're from Belfast. If you were in the struggle in Belfast, I'm not saying that the people, you had more of a chance of ending up in the jail in Belfast than you had if you were in somewhere like Cross McGlen or Loughgall or Strabane, The people that were out with the big cities, and I'm not taking anything away from the people that were fighting the struggle in Belfast and Derry, but, I was talking to a lad a couple of weeks ago who will remain, and this guy done a lot of time and he's a good guy, he's probably known. And, he was, a lot of them were of the opinion, there was even splits within the movement, but the war in the likes of Armagh and, the likes of maybe Tyrone and all these places, was on the ground. It was more kind of, there seemed to be a lot more happening in them sort of satellite places, if you know what I mean. And it was a good song to bring into the fore because it was a song about, you know, what was going on, you know. And
The
I
here and
always
now,
liked it
whenever it
anyway,
was recorded, yeah.
you know.
Uh,
But like, I mean, I'm not. Come here. I know there was desperate struggles in Derry and Belfast and all, but like when you went right into it, I mean, Crossmaglen, XMG was known as bad in the country, right? And I mean, they had a hard run up there as well, you know.
yeah,
So
definitely.
it was just, it was a good song. Like when you know, you couldn't go into a gig when you were playing a gig, right, anywhere in Scotland or Ireland and start off with the Dying Rebel, unless you were all sitting down eating at dinner, you know. So you had to give them something. So the two ideal songs to start off with was Crossmaglen or Bring Them Home, you know,
Yeah,
because they were right
really,
into the
the
beat,
crowd going,
you know. And you were saying earlier on about the drums. The drums are very prominent in them songs, so the drums will give you a beat. So it would kind of lay down the precedent for the rest of the gig, you know. So it was a good song to start off. I always liked it anyway, you know. I think it was the first song. Was it the first song I recorded with the band, or it might have been Willie and Danny? But it was a good song, and it always kind of got everybody going, you know. And you know, it was just I liked it, you know. Crossmaglen. I still sing it today, every now and then, you know. But it was a great song. I know you
we'll
had
do that now.
probably up there, you know.
Oh, definitely. Right, so listen, we'll go play this here now, folks. And this is from Athenrye's album, the one. We'll just put Joey on mute here, right? So we'll play the song and bring it back in a few minutes, okay, Joey?
Okay, thanks.
Just stay there, and I'll put it up. I'll change the graphic on the screen in a wee second. So, yeah. So we're now going to play Live the Barlands. So this is the track here, the Fighting Men of Crossmaglen. Folks, this is Rebel Sunday. So this with our live guest, Joey Bracken. I keep going to say Joey Glacken. Sorry, Joey. I'm sure you'd be honoured to be privileged to be the name of Jerry Glackman. That's Joey Bracken, folks, from Athenrye.
On the Crossmaglen, the fire burns through, patriotic flame will never die. And when you hear the battle cry, it will be those fighting men from Crossmaglen. I'll sing a song of the bravest men, that famous fighting unit from our man. They are the men from Crossmaglen, among the bravest Ireland's ever saw. And in Crossmaglen, the fire burns through, patriotic flame will never die. And when you hear the battle cry, it will be those fighting men from Crossmaglen. At night you'll hear bazookas roar, and like Sahara across the land. The IRA, the spirit soar, in all the reckoning is close at hand. And across Crossmaglen, the fire burns through, patriotic flame will never die. And when you hear the battle cry, it will be those fighting men from Crossmaglen. Those British scum, they do fear they'll never again see their country's shores, because they know that they'll pay dear because the row will even Ireland's bloody score. And across Crossmaglen, the fire burns through, patriotic flame will never die. And when you hear the battle cry, it will be those fighting men from Crossmaglen. Let's see money on the mandolin. The fire burns through, patriotic flame will never die. And when you hear the battle cry, it will be those fighting men from Crossmaglen. We'll not give up until we're free, until Ireland's out of Britain's hands. We'll never rest until we see Britannia's blue lips driven from our land. And across Crossmaglen, the fire burns through, patriotic fighting man from Crossmaglen.
Let's see the hands in the air.
At Crossmaglen, the fire burns still. Athenrye and its name will never die. And when you hear the battle cry, it will be those fighting men from Crossmaglen. Well, at Crossmaglen, the fire burns still. Athenrye and its name will never die. And when you hear the battle cry, it will be those fighting men from Crossmaglen. Yes, it will be those fighting men from Crossmaglen.
There we go, folks. Sound of the fighting men across McLean from Athenrye's album Live at the Glasgow Barrowlands. So it is. Right, so say we'll have one more song from Athenrye at the end of the interview. So folks, welcome back to the show. If you're just tuning in, we're joined today by Joey Bracken, former frontman and founding member of the band Athenrye, folks. So Joey, welcome back to the show, mate. Again, cheers for joining us from Lanzarote this afternoon. Right, so obviously, Joey, you took the decision to join the Irish Army. That's something that you're very proud of, so it is. So how long actually did you serve for, and what sort of made you sign up?
Well, I went to join the US Marines, believe it or not. And forced, and I couldn't get in because there's nobody to sponsor me. And then I went to join the Foreign Legion, and I couldn't get in because I was drunk. And
Okay.
I'll tell you what, my mother said to me one day, I was only out of school about 6 months or something, and I was working as a kind of a cabinet maker. I was a kind of a Mickey Mouse cabinet maker down in Drumcondon in Ireland. And I went home one day, and my mother said to me, "Are you still here?" And I said, "What do you mean?" She says, "Get out and get a job." And it was no more than, I had no designs really. I mean, I wanted to join the Legion, because I just wanted to get away. I don't know why. I just wanted to get away, and I didn't, right? And I wanted to, like, the Marines would have been good to go to America, It was nothing got to do with politics or anything. There was a lot of good Irishmen, over the years fought with the US Marines, and they kind of, there's an ethos in there that caters to the Irish, they're well respected. And like, I was very well read. I read a lot of, I had to stop reading Republican books when I was 17 because I was going off my head, you know what I mean? And
Right.
I was reading all sorts of books. I was reading books like about the US Marines and the Legion and all. So I was thinking about that, but I didn't have any luck at that avenue. Then I went to go to sea. I always wanted to go to sea, I had it in my blood, I think. But it was a closed shop. I didn't fancy joining the Irish Navy, right? But I went down to the ports in Dublin to train, but it was a closed shop. I had two uncles that were involved in it, but I didn't really, it wasn't that I didn't get on with them. I didn't trust them, so I didn't ask them. I don't like asking people for anything, But when I went down and I tried to go to sea, and I got come back in 6 months and all this sort of shit, So I was going home that day, and I met a mate of mine on the bus, and he had no hair. I said, "What happened to you?" He says, "I joined the army." I said, "All right, fair enough." So I went back into town and I joined the army, and I came home, and my mother said to me, "Where's your hair?" And I said, "Listen, fucking 2 hours ago you told me to fuck off, so I'm doing what you told me to do." And that was kind of the only reason I joined, it was nothing, but like, I was glad, don't get me wrong, I had a great time in there. I spent about 12 years there between part-time and full-time, I was overseas, I was in Lebanon, I was all over the place, I really enjoyed it. And I got a bit of stick off me Republican mates, the usual. Go on, you. And I'd be going, "Where you fucking stone throwing bastard?" The usual. But it was good banter but like, I always had me politics, And I mean, I had to hide them. I went to miners. I remember one time I was in the army and I went to a miner strike thing. Arthur Scargill was in Dublin, and I got lifted at it, and I was up in front of them the next day. And they were giving me a load of, "Listen, you can't be going to this and you can't be going to that." And I said, "Look, come here. I can do what I want." And like, and that was my attitude. Like, I mean, I loved the army, don't get me wrong, and I was very good at it. And I was promoted earlier on. But I had this, way of fucking things up, I really did. I was always the most vocal. So I'd sit at home and counsel for a minute and then I'd let go, And especially if we were sitting having a drink, I'm not saying I'm a bowser or anything, but I always was as straight as a die. And sometimes when you're as straight as a die, it doesn't do you any favours, you know what I mean? So I left after 12. I should have stayed longer. I should have got a pension, you know. But the old saying, if my granny had balls, she would be my grandfather, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, who knows what's going to happen. But I'm glad I done it. And I've great memories from it. And I've great respect for the people that I was in there with. And they've great respect for me for the most part. I've written a couple of songs. I wrote a song for Derek Smallhorn and Tom Barrett were murdered in Lebanon. And the guy that murdered them was smuggled out of Lebanon by the fascist Israelis, right? And he was over in America selling ice cream. And they had a campaign for, you know, to get him extradited back to Lebanon to stand trial for the murder of the lads. So they had a campaign, the Justice for Smallhorn and Barrett campaign. And I wrote a song for that called Justice Will Be Done. And that song featured in an Emmy, or featured in a documentary in America that won an Emmy Award. So I'm a Nobel Peace Prize. I'm a Nobel Peace Prize winner, right? And an Emmy Award winner. I haven't got a fucking light. But and I wrote a couple of songs for the Congo vets as well, you know. So I have that veteran side, you know, within me, you know. And the two of them has never crossed. Nobody in the army has ever really pulled me up because of my Republican beliefs, you know. And nobody in the Republican movement has ever. I wouldn't entertain them anyway, really. I just tell them to fuck off, you know what I mean? There's an old saying, when you've chewed the dirt, I chew it, you come and talk to me, you know? But like, there was a bit of slagging. And sometimes it did get a bit nasty. But the way I looked at it was, you see the people that were slagging me, they couldn't slag me because they done nothing themselves, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And I will take, you know, if I'm out with my Republican mates, you know, former provos or Ryan LA or that like that, there's a mutual respect there because we were all in the same, you know, regimen, if you know what I mean. Like, we all kind of adhered to the same, you know, kind of doctrines and all that. So I never let them cross, and they never will cross. And like, if anybody ever said that to me, I'll just tell them go away, you know. I've nothing that I don't have to explain myself, you know, over anything that I've ever done. The only person that beats me up about the things I've done is me, you know. But I'm very proud of it. And I know, come here, I know why are they men that were in the Irish Army, I know why are they men that were in the British Army, you know, I mean, sure you do as well. You know, but, you know, when you go back into the past, one of the things that really upsets me in my life, and I'm not educated enough, you know, or qualified enough to talk about it, and I hear some people talking about it. I pulled the fellow up about a couple of months ago, I went, come here, you. He was pulling this elf up on the pub saying, back in 22, you would have fought with the Free State. And I says, come here, you fucking prick. Sorry for cursing. I says, you weren't there. I says, all you are is a mouth. How can you turn around and tell somebody what they would have done back in 1922? And that would have been a terrible time to be Irish. That is the hardest of all the tragedies that's ever befallen Ireland. There's been a lot of them. 1916, Loughgall, Gibraltar. There's been a lot of them. My biggest, you know, thing that upsets me more than anything else, you know, is the fact that Irish men, brothers, fought against each other because the whole politics of the thing was so, you know, it was so bad at the time, you know, you can't. And when I hear people saying, oh, you shouldn't sing that song, this honours this person, or this honours that person, you know, listen, you know, you do whatever you feel in your heart, you know. And it must have been a terrible time, you know. It must have been a terrible time. And I look at what's happening to Ireland today, right? Especially in the south, you know. And my hero was Sean McDermott, right? And Padraig Pearse, James Connolly, Michael Collins. See them guys, they wouldn't have put up with what's going on today, you know. And they, you know, they people have single-handedly ruined their country by their greed. And the fact that they're allowed to get away with it hurts me more than anything else, because people complain about this, they complain about that. If it was up to me, really, I'd have a different agenda. I'll tell you one thing, there'd be a lot of ropes hanging from the Halfpenny Bridge, and that's true as God. Because until the government in the south of Ireland realise fear, they will just keep doing what they do. You know, they got away with murder for years. They're diluting the populace now by bringing in, you know, people from everywhere. I have no problem with anybody seeking refuge from any country in the world. I've done it myself. I'm an immigrant myself. But like, when they overlook their own people, you know, there's people on the housing list in Ireland for 24 years.
Yep.
You know, and some fella gets off a plane in Dublin and he gets a free house. Listen,
Well, it
I'm
is
all for
hard to
helping.
take. I think
I'm
when
all
you
for
see, like,
helping
obviously,
people.
people sleeping in sleeping bags, you'd say the doll and
It's
stuff, you know what I mean?
horrible.
And
It's
people are
horrible.
dying, like, on a weekly basis. And
If James
then,
Connolly, I remember thinking one time, I kind of wrote a little play one time, and the gist of it was James Connolly came back into the modern era, and he was sitting looking at the telly, and he didn't even know what the telly was, but when he finally realised what the telly was, he was standing there looking at all this, you know. And then Michael Collins appears, and they have a conversation, and then an ordinary Joe comes and he's telling them what's going on. Can you imagine if Sean McDermott came back here today and he's seen what was going on in Ireland? Do you know what I mean? It just
it's a
doesn't.
sorry state of affairs, like, to be honest.
It is a sorry state of affairs, and I hope it gets better. And I think all politicians, it doesn't matter who they are. I mean this sincerely, right? Now, there is good ones, but I think they're all politicians. They have their own agenda. They would rather win a fight on the floor, you know. I'm not talking about a physical fight, but like, you know, spinning this and spinning that and going, fuck you and this, do that. But at the end of the day, do they actually really do anything after it? Do you know what I mean? And that, I think a lot of them have their own agendas. I'm talking about the south of Ireland now. You know what I'm saying? You know, like, there's gobshites running Ireland at the moment, and it's when you think of the amount of people that gave their lives because of what they believed in their heart, and now you have these gobshites, you know, basically just doing whatever they want. It's ridiculous. There should be something done about it, you know. But anyway, you know, I'm not, you know. It need to be somebody bigger than me.
Well, right, listen. So obviously, you moved to Scotland, Joe, in 1981. And you played with a band called Celtic Connection, right? Obviously, then not long after this, Athenrye was formed, right? So, firstly, before we get into the whole Athenrye thing, what sort of was behind the story of moving to Scotland? Was just sort of it's something you wanted to do, or you had planned, or what sort of happened? Did something happen here? You want to get away, or what was the crack?
I always had itchy feet, right? I mean, I always wanted to travel, and if I had to stay in Ireland, I had two options, right? You know, one of them was the IRA, and the other one was, you know, like armed robbery or something like that. You know what I mean? You know, I wasn't shying away from anything. I wasn't running away from anything. I was a big Celtic supporter. I always was, you know. And I decided I'll just go over. I actually just went over for a Celtic game one time, you know, and decided to stay. But I knew that I was going to go somewhere, do you know what I mean? I knew that Ireland wasn't for me. And I'll tell you why. You know, I've always been kind of socially conscious, right? And I was living in Clontarf at the time with a girl, and I hadn't got a light. You know what I mean? I hadn't got a light. And my family home was in Whitehall, so it was a bit of a walk, right? And I used to walk up to my family home, you know, and it was like a half an hour walk, or whatever. And I didn't mind. I was quite fit, you know. But I used to walk up the Holt Road. The Holt Road would be like the Malone, right? And you had all these Dermot Desmond type people coming out with their wax moustaches and their long overcoats, and they were getting into their big Volvo motors and living in their £1 million houses. And I just thought to myself, I didn't want to be a person that was begrudging them their wealth. But yeah, I was walking up the road and I had like sixpence or sevenpence in my pocket, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't want to live my life because I knew that I could get better if I went somewhere else, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I went to Glasgow and I ended up staying there for a while. I played with Celtic Connection, Mark, Sadly Toyd, Franny, John, and then that went, and I done a bit of solo stuff myself. And then Athenrye came and asked me would I join them, and I did, you know. And we had some great times. We were a great band. I mean, Terry James and Michael were fantastic. Terry was one of the best singers I've ever heard in my life. Totally underrated, right? And the guy, he knew all about. He was the most technical musician I've ever met in my life. You know, some people have soul. He had soul and technical ability. I love the more live approach, right? I love the more spontaneous approach. But he was meticulous in everything he done was practiced, if you know what I mean. And that led to a conflict between the two of us because I was not practiced. I just battered in, you know. But it was a good conflict. I mean, we had great times. I was with the lads at the weekend in Glasgow at the game. James was a fantastic whistle player, flute player, drummer, and he had a bit about him as well. He loved the Irish dancing. They're all Donegal, Sholtis, Glasgow people. Do you know what I mean? You know what?
Would he have came from like a Kelly background? James would have been.
Yeah, I'm sure he probably. Well, he
when,
would have. Yeah.
When you hear the drumming, it's definitely like a sort of like a Kelly, sort of, especially the snare drumming, like like a Kelly sort of style stuff, like.
He did, yeah, he did. James was a very, very accomplished musician. Very, very accomplished musician. You know, one of perhaps the best whistle player I've ever heard. And he'd be sitting listening to this now, smiling. But he was, and you had moments too where you wanted him to say, James, come here, you come back. And I'm sure he had the same with me. And he was hyper, the most hyper person I ever met in my life, But you were talking about drummers there, and you're a drummer yourself, right? He asked me to do the kick drum one time for a sound check,
Right.
And I was doing the kick drum. And I went, James, hurry up, this is hurting me. And see that night, my shins were killing me, right?
Yeah,
I tell you one thing, I would have hated to get a boot off him, because he would have put you in the next week, because his leg muscles must have been absolutely, absolutely, he must have had legs like tree trunks, But I was with James at the weekend, and I had a great time with him, And Athenrye, I was with the two of them. Michael was a fantastic mandolin player. And, Michael's kind of gone off the grid now. We don't know where he is, I know he'll be all right no matter where he is, I know that. Yeah. But Michael was a great player. And everybody had their each person in that band had their own individual traits, if you know what I mean, But when you put it together, it was a great. If anything, I probably didn't appreciate the amount of talent that was around about me, because I always had this kind of thing, where I didn't think I was as good as I was, that way. Some people think that better than me. I always had this hangback where I didn't think I was, if I went into an environment, I'd always think that I was the one that was the least proficient out of them all, and that wasn't necessarily the case. But like when we got together, and I played with Terry on my own, I played with James on my own, I played with Michael on my own, like various little projects that we done and all. And like, come here, I could call them boys tomorrow and say, come on, we're going, and we don't do it. We've been offered so much stuff, we really have. Like every week I get, will you do a gig? Will you do a gig?
Yep.
And we don't do them because we're all kind of moved on from that now. But it doesn't mean that we're not going to go to Donegal some weekend and bring the instruments with us, you know what I mean? And we might do the odd gig here and there, but we don't want to get caught up in the rigmarole of it all anymore, we want to do it for ourselves. But I have to say this, it was an absolute pleasure to play with them boys. It really was, and some of the things we done and some of the places we went, I mean, we were together for, I think it was 12 years or something like that. It might have been more. But like musically, I suppose because we were doing it all the time, we didn't realise the magnitude of it, if you know what I mean. Because
that sort of brings me on a bit to my next sort of question. I see, the man I had to thank a good bit for he gave me a good bit of background information for the day's interview is our own Eamon Sticks Doherty from Strabane, the other wee man from Strabane, to say. Now, obviously, when we were talking about Athenrye, Sticks sort of told me, he says, as a band, musically and technically and professionally, it's the best band he's ever been a part of. And obviously, Sticks has been played with everybody. He's been involved with a lot of bands. I mean, he can probably go into any band he wanted tomorrow. I mean, and pick up an instrument and play with her. But I say there's a massive endorsement for the band. I think, like coming from somebody like Sticks.
Sticks Doherty is my friend, right? He's one of my best friends, right? As a matter of fact, I'm going to tell you all this now. I called him Sticks. It was me that named him Sticks. You didn't know that, did you?
No, I didn't. Right.
I met Sticks. Sticks was Michael. Michael got arthritis in his hand, right? And he was going off somewhere further, and he left the band. And, it was a sad loss to lose Michael because, Michael is an absolute gentleman, right? And he's a great musician as well. He had a strange way of playing, completely different than anybody else I've ever heard, right? But, he was brilliant and he was a funny guy. And, I had some great. Me and Michael done a few solo gigs, but anyway, Michael was gone, right, and we brought various people into the band over the years, to cover Michael and James on occasion, right. And Michael was gone, so Sticks was getting interviewed for the band, and so I said to him, I said, "How are you?" He says, "I'm aiming." "How are you aiming?" "I'm no." I said, "Where are you from?" And he says, "Strabane." And he says, "There's a smell of burning sticks off you," right? Message.
Right.
And that he's been known as Sticks ever since, right? Sticks Doherty is the greatest musician I've ever heard, right? And I'm being honest, he can put his hand to anything, right?
Yep, phenomenal. Yep.
And me and Sticks probably didn't realise each other's worth. The first person I go to, and he'll hate me saying this, right, because I was talking to him earlier on, the first person I go to when I need somebody is Sticks, right? Because me and Sticks, when we get together, a sort of an ambience covers us like a cloud. And no matter what we do is going to be good. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Sticks is so good. There's another guy now plays in a band called the Druids now, right? And Sticks says to me, the guy's name is Zach Morden, right? And Sticks is not a snob, or, he said to me one day, and I probably shouldn't say it, he probably hate me for saying this. He says, "I finally met somebody that I can relate to." And Zach Morden is a fantastic musician, right? And so is Sticks. And see if the two of them were in a band together, they could take over the world. You know what I'm saying? Because Sticks knows everything about music. He knows everything about music. He has that natural ability that no matter what he does, works. And he's a great
young
actor.
Zach he's some singer as well, so he has he's some voice on him, so he has
Yeah, but
great
he's
musician
the
as well,
way
but
plays
he's a
it,
great singer,
He is a good singer as well, but his guitar work is tremendous, And Sticks says to me, Sticks was delighted. He sends me a message. "I finally met somebody that, it wasn't that I can compete with." And, he's not arrogant. I don't mean to make Sticks sound like he's arrogant, but, he realised that there was somebody there that he could, butt heads against. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I suppose when you're
And
that
that's
good,
brilliant.
but I mean, you can say something like that, you know what I mean? And there's nobody who'll come up and say Sticks Doherty is up his own hole or whatever. I mean, because he certainly isn't that. You know what I mean, the guy's just like, he can pick up any instrument and just go. And
If
he's
he was
just
up his own hole,
watching
he'd
all.
get a boot in the hole, Rudy. I can tell you some stories about me and Sticks, but I can't obviously. I'm not on live playing radio. But come here, I tell you, Sticks. Of all the people I've met in music, Sticks has to be up there because, the things that we got up to. If I'm ever sitting talking with you, having a coffee or something like that, and Sticks is there, I'll tell you, and you won't believe it. The stories I can tell you will make your fucking toes for, right? But listen, Sticks, I'm glad Sticks is doing his thing now, with Fergie. And Fergie's come on an awful lot, And I like Fergie. Fergie's a lovely fella too, And I love Strabane, because I go up to Strabane and I get to be with Sticks and, Teddy Boyle and, and the slagging is fierce up there. Do you know what I mean? There's no, it doesn't matter where you're from or what you've done or who you are. Well, a lot of lads come over from Strabane over here all the time. And I went up to Christie's and I played with Sticks and I played with Fergie. And I hope to do it again soon. Now, that COVID thing kind of blocked it all. But you know what?
Yeah, messed everything up.
You couldn't get into the Christie's bar when we're there. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody comes and they know that we're going to have the crack and the music's going to be brilliant.
It's going to be a great show. Yeah.
And I'm delighted that Sticks is doing so well at the moment. You know what I mean? He's kind of went down a different route. But I always slag it because, the one thing I hate about Ireland more than anything else, I probably hate this more than the RUC, and I probably shouldn't say this now, right? Irish country music, and especially when you go to the likes of Tyrone, Jesus Christ, you know what I mean? But if I ever see Sticks playing that, I gotta go up there and I gotta have a one of them. You know what I'm saying?
Well, here you might actually. But I think the good thing was obviously when they changed their name. I mean, obviously it was Planksty Folk more or less was like a sort of rebel / sort of folk band. But then obviously him and Fergal made the decision to say, listen, we're going to go a different route, more commercial. But changed their whole name, was probably the right thing to do. You know what I mean? Because I think they're maybe landing themselves, and we're going to say, we're going to keep running on our name, but instead now we're singing bloody Wagon Wheel and bloody all the rest of this other stuff, rather than the sort of rebel stuff people would have knew us for. Now, on the subject of Sticks, it's told me to mention, he says, asked Joey, he says, there's a name on one of the albums named Brownie McGee, who featured on one of the albums. He says, ask you what's the story behind that.
I can't tell you, Rudy. And I'll tell you one thing. You see, when you see that fucker again, you tell him he's getting a boot off me, right? I can't say that. I get into trouble. I'll tell him I'm going to fucking kill him now, right, for that. Sticks,
I'm sure he's listening anyway.
He's in trouble for that. Here, Sticks, will I tell him about the bass drum in Florida? Nah. No, listen, we'll keep them stories for another day, Rudy, right?
Right, no problem. Right, so obviously, so Athenrye finished around 2003. So basically, was it just like a mutual decision, or sort of just the band just run its course, or what sort of happened there?
I'll tell you really what happened. Athenrye had done everything that it set out to do, right? There was a bit of politics involved. I'm not getting involved in it, right? The one thing I would say about Athenrye is we never licked anybody's arse, right? Never, right? And we never were told what to do by anybody. Like, people tried it, we just told them away, you know. We had done everything, you know, that we had set out to achieve. You know, we had 6 albums. We'd done, I think, about 22 tours of America. We played in the Barrowlands, we played in stadiums, we played all over the place. I'd say it just kind of ran its course, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, Michael had gone at that stage. James was gone. We had Kevin O'Neill from Glasgow. It was another fantastic musician, Kevin, you know. Dafty O'Neill, we used to call him. And I had Dafty and Sticks. So I had to carry them in America, by the way, the two of them. You know, it kind of ran its course. And it was becoming a bit diluted, if you know what I mean, I think, you know. Yeah. And I think nobody kind of made any decision to stop. We just kind of stopped. You know what I mean? And I went to America. And we went over as a kind of the lads came over. We went over and we done a farewell kind of tour in America. My wife was there. She'd know more about it. Lordy, how long did we stay in America that time when I stayed? How many times did we play? We done a couple of weeks tour in America, and I decided to stay. I had met a girl in America, you know, and I'd met loads of girls all over the place, you know what I mean? But I kind of kept in contact with this girl, and we kind of got together, you know. And I went back to America then, and we went over, and the lads came over, and we done a couple of gigs. And I remember standing outside my wife, now her mother's house, and saying goodbye to the lads, you know. And that was the end, you know. And like, there was no tears or emotion like that, because we're all big macho men, you know what I mean? But I knew in that moment when I hugged Teddy and I hugged James that was the end. Yeah, that was it. And you know, like, I mean, you know, it wasn't, you know, it was, we didn't part on bad terms, and there was nothing like that. It just kind of happened, you know what I mean? I think I was going to America, so that probably could put the kibosh on it, because we had lost James, although he was in America with us for that. And we'd lost Michael. So the band, you know, it was becoming like Athenrye and Friends, you know. And, and listen, it never infringed on the music. Like, I mean, the guys that took over, you know, and played with us on the tours were fantastic musicians, but it just kind of reached the end of its course. And I remember when the lads got in the car and they drove away, you know, and it was kind of sad because they were going. But I was kind of optimistic as well, because I had to stand on my own 2 feet now and go off and start all over again, you know. But anyway, it didn't matter, because about fucking 3 months later I got to jail in America, and I got thrown out. So
I know that's how you feel.
That's really never materialised. But we Athenrye played a couple of gigs since, you know. I brought them over here a couple of years ago for St. Patrick's Day, and we played at the festival here, and we only done like a 45-minute spot. And then we done a benefit gig for one of the lads' sisters in Glasgow a few years ago. And one time I went over to the Cross Keys in Wishaw, which I have to mention, great. If there's anybody listening to the Keys, the best wishes. Sorry we didn't get there on Sunday, but you know what it was like. It was bananas. The Cross Keys in Wishaw was the bar that made Athenrye. And even when we were at the, you know, the top of our success, we always went back and played there because we loved the people that were there, and they were all friends.
I think there's always one. Like, obviously, you look at our Oak, and you say like sort of the Brazen Head was there, sort of. I mean,
well, we played in the Brazen Head as well, many times. I actually passed it there last week, and I was going by the door and I seen who was standing outside it, but I couldn't get out. I wanted to get out and say how are you, but I was in a. My mate was driving the car, but you know, I went to do a gig. They asked me in the Cross Keys to go over one time and do a gig, and I was going over to see a game, and I went into the thing, and I didn't know this was going to happen. And I was set up and I was about to start playing, and James and Teddy walked in with Mick Chinford. That was with Charlie and the boys. And we had a great day, you know. So I mean, and I met the lads last week, and I said to them, "Come on, we need to go to Donegal for the weekend." So I'd say we might end up doing the odd gig every year or two, you know what I mean? Just to
I should try and get on the Mickey Bell and go over for the Celtic Supporters Festival. Joey, God's sake, that'll be some in September, like that'll be some weekend for you, so it would. Right, listen, so before we're gonna just this is probably going on for an hour now, one of the longest interviews, but I think when sometimes you speak to people, you let them talk, and that's what this here's all about, you know. But so you're finding yourself now in Lanzarote, right? Obviously you've set up home there, not jealous at all, like. But so how did that all come about? So what are you doing there? What's happening?
Well, I tell you, I got back to America when I ended up getting jail. I got jailed for immigration, right? And then I got deported home, and I went home to Dublin, and I hadn't been home in Dublin at that stage for about 12 years, right? And then I ended up staying with my sister, who I dearly love, but it just wasn't working out, you know what I mean? I didn't want to be there. So I seen an advertisement to go to Fuerteventura. Now, I'll just tell you this first. When I left the army, I'd done this 6 months in Tenerife, and I swore I'd never do it again because I hated it. I hated playing music for tourists and all, right? I really did. Yeah. And I still do to a certain extent, right? But I went to Fuerteventura, and that didn't work out. But I ended up playing in Fuerteventura for about 7 years, you know. And look, it's kind of dog eat dog out here. There's no, you know, people turn around to me and they say, "Joe, you're one of the best singers I ever heard in my life, and you were in the best band and all this sort of stuff," you know. None of that matters when you're out here, right? But anyway, you know, I'm here and I'm happy here at the minute. There's a new bar that's come on the scene. I'm a big Celtic supporter, as you know, really, right? And it was actually great to be at home there last week because it was the first time in 12 years that I'd been to Parkhead. And, you know, and I was with Terry and James and Dave Murphy from 67 and a mate of mine, Kenny Murray from Glasgow. And I met all my friends, and I didn't have enough time. I should have went home for a lot longer. But I've been playing out here for years, and I was doing the old triangle, and I was doing all the touristy spots and all. There's a new bar open here recently called Bar 67, and it's the two youngsters, Wayne and Dave Murphy, who's the sons of old Dave Murphy and Marie in the old triangle. And it's a great bar, and I'll tell you what's happening now, and I like it. The people are starting to come and say to me, "Oh, geez, Joe, I didn't know you were here," and blah, blah, blah. And I'm meeting loads of people, right? And they're asking me now, will I go and will I play here and will I play there? Now, I don't necessarily want to do that, right? But what I'm going to do now, I'm going to try and get back to Glasgow 4 times a year, right? So if I can go to Glasgow and play a couple of gigs, you know. Now, I don't want it to just be any gigs. I want them to be nice, relaxed, you know. Athenrye always had this mentality, right? You know, we played gigs where they were swinging out the lights and all, but we were a great ballad band, right? And people always liked the way we kind of handle ourselves, and we expected quiet and we expected respect, and we didn't like televisions on and all. I won't play in them environments. See, when I went to a couple of gigs in Glasgow, and there was televisions on and they were fucking swinging out the lights and there was no respect. I won't entertain that. I'm not going to put myself through that, right? And I never will. I respect the sanctity of the music, right? I respect the sanctity of the content of the music that I'm singing about, right? Do you understand? Yep. We can all go daft. There's a time to go daft and there's a time to be respectful. So I would like, people are at me now, "Joe, would you come here and would you go there and would you do that?" I'm going to try and use this now to get me back to Glasgow, say, for the games, you know, and maybe go over. I've done a gig for a friend of mine at the weekend, Ricky Ferns, in the Corinthian Hotel, right? And I would like to do, like, you know, if I don't know how to explain this. Somewhere where, like, people will be sitting down as opposed to swinging out the lights. Do you know what I'm saying?
More like like a theatre kind of thing, and actually like a concert style instead of
Yeah,
basically just
exactly. You know,
yeah. Know what I mean?
where
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
because when I do that, I can do that. You know, I'm not blowing my own trumpet, but I am a really good singer, right? And I love singing. You know, and I feel it coming from my body. Go back to what I said about my mother. You know, I've got my mother in me when I sing, if you know what I mean. You know, because I owe it to my parents and to the people that I sing about to give the best account I can.
Yeah,
you know, about their exploits. It's not about me. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I have an ego too, right? But like, I mean, it's about the content, you know, of the music. I've always said that, you know, and it's not about me, you know. But I'm a good vehicle to portray it, if you know what I mean. So
yes,
I don't.
Yeah.
Like, there's people looking for me to go to Dublin. I mean, I get asked to go to Derry all the time. I get asked to go to Belfast all the time. I'll be honest with you, Rudy, I don't want to get caught up in all the inner politics of the music scene. And I just want to go and be Joey Bracken and do what I have to do and pay my respectful, you know, renditions of my songs to the people that understand. I'm not interested in making people dance or swing out of the lights. I mean, I can do that as well. Easy. I can do that in my sleep. But I think that somewhere along the line, when you do that, you know, the whole ethos of the music gets lost, if you know what I mean. You know, I'd rather respectful, you know, listening, you know, to the songs. You know, I'm not saying like when you go in there, I'm not Christy Moore, you know. Hey, you shut up. But like, people should have a respectful dignity, you know, listening to them songs. And you know, if I can find a way to do that, and maybe go back to Glasgow maybe 4 times a year, and maybe go to Dublin, maybe go to Derry. I don't want to end up going on the road. You know what I mean? Because I couldn't, you know, I came out here to kind of get away from that. But I wouldn't be adverse to, you know, doing the odd gig back home. But like what I'm saying about this bar 67, it's a lovely, lovely bar out here, right? And it's a Celtic bar, and 2 lads are good lads, you know. And it's getting there are a lot of good people coming into it late, you know, and they're all, oh, James, Joe, we thought you were dead and all this, you know. And I'm like, well, no, here I am. And it's a great fit for me because I can be me, I can be Joe Bracken, you know. And then,
so
like,
if you get a resident there now? Do you play there how many nights a week you playing there, or what's the crack with that place? Or?
Well, I'm probably doing 2 there at the moment. Look, I've 3 this week. I've said I playing on Wednesday. You know, and you give it a bit of, you know, like fucking, you know, give me the, you know, you give it a bit of that as well. But it's like it reminds me kind of McNeil's in Glasgow or one of these bars. You know, the people that go in have a respectful dignity to listen to the music, you know, and they go daft as well. You give them a bit of, you know, going home.
I was going to say it there. I mean, before we go on, do you think, obviously, because people they're on holiday, they're in holiday mode, they're drinking all, they wouldn't drink as much as they normally do. But I mean, I think, see what you're trying to explain there. I was in Santa Ponsa about maybe 4 years ago, right? And we actually went to Harry Flynn's place, right? The Celts Well. And it was actually one of the nights the Celtic matches was on. And there's these 2 boys singing, and literally, see even someone coming and really annoyed me. Like what? And I actually spoke to Harry after the gig. Coming from West Belfast, obviously, Joe McDonnell comes from literally 5 minutes down the road where I'm from here. And they had these 2 guys singing Joe McDonnell, and literally, like, they were the guy who was singing the song. It was a guy with him had a guitar, and the other guy was just singing, and he was jumping up and down the whole way through it, raising his fists and dancing or whatever. And I just stood there, like, shaking my head. I was going, like, "Are you for real?" Like, I mean. I know people are on holiday and stuff, but there's certain songs, I mean, that you can do that to. There's certain songs that you should be busy showing a bit of respect to. And next that there, it sort of just annoyed me a wee bit. Like,
well, you wouldn't get that off me, Rudy, because I'm respectful in the song first. You know, I mean, people know me. Right? I was primarily a ballad singer, although I can sing. Now, listen, having said that, I can go out tonight and I have a different gig tonight. I'll be singing Al Green songs and Wham, and, you know. But like, I wouldn't put as much effort into them songs as I would putting into the, you know, like singing the ballad, John McDonnell. When I'll always, if I sing a song like that, I'll make sure that I have silence. And you know, and, I mean, I'm not trying to be a fucking a ringmaster or carrying a whip, but like, if I'm singing that song and somebody starts, I'll stop the song and I go, "Excuse me, you know, would there be any chance you can keep it quiet there and have a bit of respect, you know?" And like, I'm lucky that I never get that, because a lot of people know me as such, do you know what I mean? They know who I am. And, you know, they know the band that I play with, so they have that kind of respect.
You're not going to get that.
You're obviously going to get the odd wallop or every now and then, but I haven't had that. And Bar 67 is a great fit for me, Rudy, right? Because it's a Celtic bar, right? And I get the respect, you know, and the songs get the respect. And it's all friends of mine that I haven't seen for a long time, whether they be from Ireland or whether they be from Glasgow. So you get that euphoria when, or Belfast or Derry or whatever, it doesn't matter. And I meet so many people, you know. And the thing is as well now, I was talking to Sticks about this earlier on, they're all at me now, will you come here, will you come there, you know, I will pick the gigs to suit me and to suit what I think will be best for the music, you know. But like this bar has been a great fit for me. It really has, you know. And you know, it's, you know, there used to be a great bar here called Hate Me In. It was run by Sean and Fiona, and I was drinking at the time, you know, and we had some great times. And even a lot of the people that used to go there come to the bar now, you know. And it's just, you know, it's a pleasure to go into that bar every bleeding time I go into it. I swear to God, I never have a problem because I know the bar knows me, the people know me. And like I had a gig there yesterday and it was great. You know, it was absolutely fantastic after the game. And people know me. So, you know, you get the odd dafty. How are you? Are you going to do this? And I go, come here, you. Let me have a word with you. And I was like, come here, you. Shut the fuck up. You know, and you know, if anybody, like, and we, Athenrye never, ever took any prisoners when it came to that, you know what I mean? It was all about respecting the music and respecting the content of the music. So I'm kind of happy, you know. I wish to God I had money. I'd buy the bleeding thing myself, you know what I mean? And I'd bring everybody over, you know, I'd bring.
Indeed.
And like, there's been a few people over, you know, a few, that band you were talking about that you seen in Santa Ponsa, they were over, right? And listen, come here, I know what you're saying, and I agree with you. But I thought, you know, I thought it was funny as well looking at them. They didn't disrespect any song when I was there, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I had to admire the balls of them to get up there and do that now. You know, now having said that, if I had seen what you said there, I would have said it to them as well, you know. But like, having said that, I'm not a judge either, you know what I mean? But
no, I understand that completely. It's just a personal choice, not mine.
I know, listen, I'm the exact same. I'm the exact same, you know. And you know the crack that's going on, Rudy. I'm not going to get into it. Right? You know what's happening, right? With all the, you know what's going on, right? But like over here, we have a little. It's like a little. I've been to Santa Ponsa, you know, and it was a good experience and all, right? But it wouldn't be my cup of tea. Do you know what I mean? You know, I'd be more. I'm more for the respectful side of listening to the music. Do you know what I'm saying?
Sort of version.
Chill out, chill out, and you get that where I am now on this 67. So I'm happy with that. You know, my life is good at the moment. You know, we had a really bad time here with this pandemic. You know, and I ended up with like loads of debt and everything. And I started off on Paddy's Day when this started. I done a stream. I think I was the first person to do it out of everybody. And the only reason I done it was because I wanted to uphold the traditions of St. Patrick's Day. And halfway through it, like somebody said, I was supposed to play for an hour or something. I think I played for about 5 hours, right? And halfway through it, somebody says to me, why don't you put up one of them PayPal things? And I don't know anything about all that PayPal thing and all this. It was hard enough for me to do this today. My wife switched me on here, you know.
Yeah.
But having said that, people started sending us PayPal donations, you know, and that kept us going. And I was very, very moved and honoured by that, you know, and that put me in contact with a lot of people as well that I hadn't been in contact with a long, long time.
Yeah, like so many. So, it's worked out for a lot of people. I know the pandemic wasn't great for what it was about, but I think for like my show as well, like this year wouldn't be happening unless coronavirus happened. I mean, this was born out of. You know, so I mean, it's
great.
But, I think that's a good place maybe to finish off then, Joey. So before we go on, obviously you were talking about the ballad, so we're going to play one more song. This time we're going to do a song from the Boston Rose album. Say you're a very proud dub, so it is, and I have a few regular sort of dubs in the show, and I give them a bit of banter, call them dirty dubs, you know. It's all about a crack, like so it is. But I say we're going to play a song. It has to be Dublin in the rare old times. Obviously, a song made so famous by the man we were talking about at the start of the interview, the late great Luke Kelly. So tell me a bit about what this song in particular means to you.
Well, we go back. First of all, right, you know, my mother only ever heard me singing one song really live, and it was only young. And my mother died when I was young, really, and so did my father, yeah. And But my mother, I done a thing. I was involved in the youth club, and I sang this in Drumcondra on the stage one time. And my mother, it was the first time she ever heard me singing in a live environment, if you know what I mean, right? And I think I've done a good job in it, and that stayed with me as well because, you know, to have your mother listening to you, it's she didn't hear enough of me, and she probably would have been critical of me, like you could do that better or something. Do you know what I mean? But
Sure,
I sang
she's
it
after
for
on
her.
what there, wasn't it? Parent shows
I
hoping you got
sang
to
this
early.
song for her, and I remember saying it. This is from my mum, And going back to Santa Ponza, I sang this song at Santa Ponza a couple of years ago, and my sister was there, and she was doing that Sunny Knowles thing with the hands, right? And I closed my eyes, and for the minute I could see my mother's face and my sister, and then I heard it crash. She fell off the fucking stage and burst on her head. But
Jesus
anyway,
Christ.
but even that was a memory. But come back to my mother, I always say, the biggest influences in my life was my mother regarding republicanism, right? Because, as I said, she'd sing, Irish soldier laddie, or an Irish soldier boy to me, and I can still hear my mother singing that. I know it might sound, kind of, a bit daft and all, but I still remember my mother singing that to me, It's one of my favourite songs, and I've never sang it. I don't know why. Maybe I'm afraid because it might be too emotional for me or whatever, you know what I mean? Come here, don't get me wrong. I'm not one of these people that dwells every day. We always remember our mothers and our fathers, But Dublin in the rare old times reminds me of my mum. And going back to what I said about like when the thing was going on about Wood Key and Luke Kelly and all them never turned up. Well, they did turn up like 4 hours late, mad drunk, right? But like Pete St. John, that song was only about 30 years old, I think. But Pete St. John had wrote that song, and I'm trying to think of the verse, farewell to Anna Liffey. I can no longer stay and watch the new glass cages spring up along the quay. Now, Pete St. John wrote that song. That song was there maybe 5 years before that was actually happening. There was no inkling that was going to happen. But Pete St. John, God be good to him, Lord of mercy on his soul, he's only gone there a while. He had the foresight to, imagine that was going to happen. So, I think Dublin in the rare old times, the words in that song, the sentiment was there before it actually happened to the degree that it's happening now. The developers and the government with their backhanders and their envelopes and, them arseholes sold out the gas fields in Mayo. That could have solved out Ireland's debt and probably get everybody in the country a big bung like what they do in Norway. But they were more interested in passing it on to somebody else and taking the benefits. I mean, that clown that used to be the Taoiseach of Ireland, Enda Kenny, I mean, he's working for the vulture funds, right? So Pete St. John had the foresight to see that. And another reason why I like this song, the Dublin City Ramblers, I mean, over the years I played with them back here. I was a guitar player the odd time. I played with the Dublin City Ramblers many, many occasions, right? And all them songs, Sean McGuinness likes that song, and he's of the opinion that, that song was written for them as well. A lot of songs were written for the Dublin City Ramblers. So on 3 levels, the first level is it reminds me of my mother. The second level, it's time immortal, right? That song will always hold the same sentiment that it did for me. For me, now, I don't know what it does for anybody else, but till the day I die. And the third thing about that song was, when you take into consideration the Luke Kelly connection and Paddy Riley and Jim McCann and the Dublin City Ramblers, Pete St. John, he was like a psychic. He could see this coming. It was like when I was walking up the Holt Road and I didn't want to be in Ireland. Now, I've written some songs myself. Like, I didn't want to be in Ireland because I didn't like the changes that were coming. And Pete St. John encapsulated all that feeling in that song. So that song will never lose its, momentum. It will always keep going, and it will always hold that sort of sentiment in my heart anyway, So it's a great song. Great
See
song.
something, it's one of the lyrics in this, the bit of the lyrics in this song. I don't think you get away with it now, because something that always, when I go listen to this song, whatever band sings it, there's a part in it when the guy goes, his skin was black as coal. I mean, with the guy that took his girlfriend away to Birmingham, and you're going like, you couldn't get away with that now. I mean, you couldn't write a song and expect it to be played in the radio. I mean, you just wouldn't. I mean,
back in the day, right? Ireland is different now, right? It's, you know, as you said earlier on, they're bringing in all these immigrant workers, you know, and we all know the reason for it, right? You know, they're trying to dilute the populace, right? Now, we've no problem, as I said to you before, with anybody looking for a better life, right? But them government fuckers know what they're doing, right? They're trying to dilute the populace. Remember when all these people come in here as well, right? They get votes. So that keeps them in power. But back in the day, when you go back to the time that song was written, the majority of people were going to England from Ireland. There wasn't many people coming to Ireland from England, you know what I mean, right? So travel, the only way to travel from Ireland for the majority of people was to go on the boat to Liverpool, right? Or Holyhead, right? So when he says that, you know, that was never meant as a racist slur, and it was never meant as that.
I understand that. Yeah, I know.
It was
just the way things are now, you know.
I know. Well, look, come here. If you were to kowtow yourself to political correctness all the time, you know, you wouldn't be able to listen to any song. But I actually like that lyric because it's profound, you know, in the sense that, you know, it's telling a story that people had to leave their country. And they either left their country for love or they left their country for work. I mean, there's another thing as well. If you go to the streets of New York, you know, some people say, my kids know to use the correct knife and fork. The amount of shite that you get over that, people saying to you, well, you know, but like that was a different era, Rudy, you know what I mean? That was a different era. You know, we're all multicultural now, and you know, you can't say this about that, you can't say that about that, you know. But back in the day, I think that when I look at that song, I think it's a strong lyric because you can relate that to other things as well. You can relate that to Luke Kelly was born in England. You know what I mean? Or he lived in England for a while. Phil Lynott was the same. So right there in that moment, that lyric is telling you things that happened. Do you know what I mean? Do you get what I mean?
Yes, I understand completely. Listen, Joey Smith, it's been an honour having you on the show today, definitely. I knew this was going to be a great interview, and it hasn't failed. And the comments made all the way through this here on live, on Facebook and YouTube have been brilliant. People are, honestly, they're loving it. So, mate, thank you very much for coming on and telling your story.
Thanks very much, Rudy, for asking me to come on, yeah.
Mate, not a problem. It's people like yourself that have sort of shaped me growing up. I mean, listen to rebel music and stuff, and to hear these stories and for to give a platform for you to come on, that's my honour, mate. So thank you. Thank you. I say my man and dad's going to be over in Athenrye, I think, in a few weeks, so hopefully they'll call in and see you. So they will in the bar. I'll tell them to call in. So listen, so Joey, thank you very much, mate. You're much appreciated. Legendary. Folks, so what we'll do now is go play the last song from well, not the last song of the show, the last Athenrye song. So this is we'll have to finish up with this one. The Dublin in the Rare Old Times. Say a song made famous by the late great Luke Kelly that was spoke about at the start of the interview, and this is Joey singing with from the Athenrye album Boston Rose. Here we go.
Thanks very much, Jody.
Ring a rosy as the light declines. I remember Dublin city in the rare old times, raised on songs and stories, heroes of renown, and the passing tales and glories that once was Dublin town. The hallowed halls and houses, the haunting children's rhymes, that once was part of Dublin in the rare old times. Oh, my name, it is Sean Dempsey, as Dublin as can be, born hard and late in Pimlico, in a house that ceased to be. By trade I was a cooper, lost out to redundancy, like my house that fell to progress my trade's a memory. Ring-a-ring-a-rosy, as the light declines, I remember Dublin city in the rare old times. And I courted Peggy Dignan, as pretty as you please, a rogue and child of Mary from the rebel liberties. I lost her to a student chap with skin as black as coal. When he took her off to Birmingham, he took away my soul. Ring-a-ring-a-rosy, as the light declines, I remember Dublin city in the rare old times. All the years have made me better, the gaggles in my brain, for Dublin keeps on changing and nothing seems the same. The pillar and the mat have gone, the royal long since pulled down, but the grey unyielding concrete makes a city of my town. Farewell, sweet Anna Liffey, I can no longer stay and watch the new glass cages spring up along the quay. My mind's too full of memories, too old to hear new chimes. I'm a part of what was Dublin in the rare old times. Ring-a-ring-a-rosy, as the light declines, I remember Dublin city in the rare old times. Ring-a-ring-a-rosy, as the light declines, I remember Dublin city in the rare old time.
There we go. Sound of Athenrye there, folks, from their album The Boston Rose, and that was of course on lyrics there, Joey. And what can I say? What an interview, folks. It went on slightly longer than sort of, not that I hoped, but I expected. But I think a few people told me, so once you get him talking, he won't shut up. No, he'll take it on. A bit probably like Brian Warfield. But it was a great interview. So Joey, thank you very much, mate. Hope to maybe meet you one of these days. You never know, or where our paths may cross. Just looking at the comments flying through here. Loving it. Obviously, people are really, really appreciating the interview today. I see Colleen Ward says, what an interview, Ro. We love Joey. See him every time in Lanzarote. We were there when the first lockdown came and watched his live stream as well. Martin Heaney says, the interview was something else. Absolutely the best crack. Tears were tripping me at all times. Joseph Agnew. Hey, Ro and Joey, pure brilliant. Could let the show go on and on. Well done, both of yous. James McClave. Yeah, what an interview. Enjoyed every minute of it. Now, a few of us were saying about we'll have to go on a wee bit longer today. So listen, what I'm going to do, I'm going to play the half 4 today, okay? Because the interview did go on a wee bit longer, right, than normally would. And I know a lot of you do tune in every week to hear the tunes as well. So I have to be somewhere. I'm actually going out for dinner at 5 o'clock, so I need to be down there for 5. So if I let I can go on and just I'll do the extra half hour for you, folks, so there's nobody moaning and shouting. But again, cheers to Joey Bracken. Great interview, folks. So listen, if any of you are enjoying the show today, you can see here up here, right? There's two wee let's see if I can get this now. Here, there. On my left-hand corner here, there's two wee links. There's a link for PayPal and there's a link for Revolut. You can just scan your phone over them, folks. If you're enjoying the show today and basically you want to support the show, please leave a wee tip or a donation. It'd be much, much appreciated. Or you can send me a wee PM at the page if you want to send a bank transfer or something. It's not a problem. So again, folks, there's been a lot sent through during the show. There always is every week. So thank you to all that always throw me a wee donation or a tip. It does go to helping getting the likes of Joey on here. I can do these better graphics now. I can pay for the software they need to bring the likes of these interviews on. So that's much appreciated, folks. So if anyone can spare a few quid, please drop us a wee tip or donation on PayPal or Revolut, or just send us a wee PM and I can give you the bank details for the bank transfer. So right, we're going to do the next song of the day. And obviously he was talking about Pete and John there, whatever and stuff. Talking about the interview. So we'll go to this here one for a great fan of the show. He was up last week listening live at 5 o'clock in the morning. Neil Costigan from Staten Island. So he was looking for the streets in New York. So we'll do this one for him. This is the legendary Wolf Tones on Rebel Sundays, folks.
I was 18 years old when I went down to Dublin with a fistful of money and a cartload of dreams. Take your time, said me father, stop rushing like hell. Remember, all is not what it seemed to be. For those fellas would put you for the coat on your back, or the watch that you got from your mother. So take care, you young bucko, and mind yourself well. Will you give this wee note to me brother? At the time Uncle Benji was a policeman in Brooklyn. Me father, the youngest, put down to the farm. When a phone call from America said send the lad over, the old fella said sure it wouldn't do any harm. For I've spent my life working this dirty old ground for a few pints of porter and the smell of a pound. Sure maybe there's something you'll learn or you'll see, and you can bring it back home. Take it easy on. So I landed at Kennedy on a big yellow taxi, carried me and me bags through the streets and the rain. Well, me poor heart was thumping around with excitement. I hardly even heard what the driver was saying. We came in the short parkway to the flatlands in Brooklyn, to my uncle's apartment on East 53rd. I was feeling so happy, I was humming a song, and I sang "You're as free as a bird." Well, to shorten the story, what I found out that day was that Benji was shot down in an uptown parade. And while I was flying my way to New York, poor Benji was lying in a cold city morgue. Well, I phoned up the old fella, told him the news. I could tell he could hardly stand up in his shoes. And he wept as he told me, go ahead with the plan, but not to forget, be a proud Irishman. So I went up to Nellie's beside Fordham Road, and I started to learn about the lift of the load. But the heaviest thing that I carried that year was the bittersweet thoughts of my hometown so dear. I went home that December, cause the owl fella died, had to borrow the money from Phil on the side, and all the bright flowers the grass couldn't hide the poor wasted face of the father. I sold up the old farmyard for what it was worth. Into my bag stuck a handful of earth. Then I boarded a train, and I caught me a plane, and I found myself back in the US again. It's been 22 years since I've set foot in Dublin. The kids know to use the correct knife and fork, but I'll never forget the green grass and the rivers as I keep law and order on the streets of New York.
Yeah, some of the Woodtones are here, folks. With Streets in New York, another great Pete and John song there. Spicy for Neil Costigan, who asked that one there, so it was. Who from Staten Island, New York. Actually, did Pete and John write that one? Actually, didn't make sure, and I mightn't have. Who did write that one? Actually, I think it was not somebody else that had passed there recently. I don't think it was Pete and John. So let's see, John. So we're going to stay on the half forward today just to keep us all happy. So I know a few of you are complaining, going, that interview was a wee bit long, but I think when Marty mentioned earlier on, says he doesn't need any leading in, he just talks. But he wasn't just talking shit. It was a good interview, a really good story to tell. So again, cheers to Sticks Doherty for giving me a lot of background information I needed for there. Much appreciated, mate, as always. As I just like Joey sort of said. Now there we go. We just lost Facebook, so I was wondering why the numbers went down a bit there. So let's remove this here stream now, and we'll jump back in, start a new Facebook stream up now. Let's see, there we go. Right, that's our Facebook stream just started up. So cheers for everyone for tuning in the day, folks. The Rebel Sundays with myself, Ro. Let's see, that's what I have here now. Was it not Liam Rayleigh from Bagatelle? Yes, Kieran, you're right. That's what I said there. It wasn't. So I had said it was Pete and John. It wasn't. He had written the Fields of Athenrye. That was the big song. No, yeah, it was Liam Rayleigh that wrote the Streets in New York. So before anybody comes and goes, he's talking shit, that wasn't him. My mistake. I'm allowed one of them every now and again. But cheers. See, Sticks. Liam Rayleigh wrote Streets in New York. Hey, Sticks, they're a good man, you see. I just said it there now. Somebody else had said to me, and it wasn't Pete and John. So I say we're all allowed a few wee mistakes. But cheers for cracking me, Sticks, like you always do, you know. But yeah, great interview, folks, by Joey. He's a legend, so he is, and Athenrye were a legendary band, so it was great to have him on. So it was right. So we'll go do a song here now. I say this has been a very Irish Brigade heavy show today, so it's maybe the third song we'll go play now. But I got asked by this here one to play by one of the family members a few weeks ago. Didn't have a chance to play it, so I didn't because obviously I didn't have time, and I couldn't play it last week because it was the Celtic show. So we'll do this here now. The anniversary of volunteer Seamus McElwain was I think it was a few weeks ago, so it was, and I was asked by one of the family members could I play the song on the show. So yep, go play it now if you. So this is the Irish Brigade from their album Our Day Will Come. This is the ballad volunteer Seamus McElwain for You Know Who asked for it.
All along Ireland's border, the news quickly spread. Another foul ambush, a volunteer dead. Oh, sad were our hearts as we whispered the name. For that brave freedom fighter was called McElwain. Through the fields of Fermanagh and the hills of Tyrone, through Cavan and Leitrim, your exploits were known. Those cowardly crown forces, they cringed at your name. They had cause to remember the bold McElwain. We salute you, brave Seamus, it's a soldier's farewell. At your passing, these words cannot tell. Your lifeblood for Ireland did not flow in vain. With Hughes and O'Hanlon now stands McIlwain. Your love for your country you could not restrain. That patriot's fever, it burned in your veins. You answered the call for to fight Ireland's foe, and you made England pay for 800 years' war. In those cages of hate's blood, you never gave in. Though they stripped you and beat you, they never could win. You inspired the lads of the bold 38. Long case couldn't hold you, you smashed through the gate. We salute you, brave Seamus, it's a soldier's farewell. Our grief at your passing, these words cannot tell. Your lifeblood for Ireland did not flow in vain. With Hughes and O'Hanlon now stands McIlwain. On that dark April morning, near the breaking of day, the SAS waited in a field near Rosslare. With Sean Lynch, your brave comrade, you were wounded and held. When they found who they'd captured, you were tortured and killed. Round your Monaghan home all the black flags did wave. In thousands we followed to honor your grave. Your comrades in arms marched with you all the way. It was a final farewell from the bold IRA. We salute you, brave Seamus, it's a soldier's farewell. Our grief at your passing, these words cannot tell. Your lifeblood for Ireland did not flow in vain. With Hughes and O'Hanlon now stands McIlwain. With Hughes and O'Hanlon now stands McIlwain.
She's out there, I know my head, can't get it up, can't get it home. All the things you do to me and all the things you see, I can't get it up, can't get it home. Step and stay as you fall and you go.
There you go, folks. Hopefully, we might see a few years out this year at the festival. Last weekend, September, it's back after 2 years. The Hills Donegal Celtic Supporters Festival in Bundoran, folks. Cracking festival. Can't wait to get back with all the see all the rest of the bands, see all the rest of the friends who you sort of see every year at the festival. It's great, folks. So get on the Facebook, contact Mickey Bell, Karen Bell, Teresa Bell, or Mary Bell. If you want to get tickets, the wristbands for the whole weekend are €50, or sorry, £50. Contact Emmons or go on the Hills Donegal page and find out how you buy the wristbands. But it's going to be a great weekend. Just seen the page there, or the video for who's all playing. So it's going to be some weekend of music. So it is. Aaron, yeah, I just got I just got the Snapchat there, and I actually just want to see here what the score was in this match. Let's see now. Is there the half time Rangers and Dundee? Well, listen, it doesn't really matter. Rangers win 6-0. The league is wrapped up nice with us. So we've done it yesterday, folks. That's it. So just touching distance nice with us. Right. So Derek Delaney is saying, Row, I think we're probably going to cut off Facebook in a wee second. I just see the numbers. It's just dropped down again there, so significantly. So I think the fourth Irish Brigade song of the day could have done it for us. So we'll soon see in a wee second if we're still on Facebook or not. Yes, Derek Delaney says, Rogue to please play Death for Revenge by Shabeen for Joe, Carlan, Terry and Rob. We'll do it there now. So this is actually from the EP that Alan Quinn put out himself. I think it was 5 or 6 songs. He put out a couple of whenever the pandemic just happened. Probably just to raise a few quid for himself. Obviously, whenever he was off with the band, he couldn't sing and stuff. So this is well, the frontman from Shabeen, Alan Quinn, with his version. It says probably like Paul G and Pat and stuff in the background anyway, playing along with him. This is Alan Quinn with Death for Revenge, especially for requested by Derek Delaney, and it's for Joe, Carlan, Terry and Rob. Here we go.
Call me what you will, don't tell me what they're saying. For tomorrow it brings a new wind, and the rain has gone away. Within these walls I see the sun shine o'er the hill, down into the valleys and amongst the daffodils. When this war is over and I see your face again, then I will tell you of the warriors who put death before revenge. Here we starve in prison to support our fellow men, with only a woolen blanket and a crucifix in our hands. Bitter screws harass and give us hell, our spirit they cannot break. Hold your chin up, lad, keep marching on, we don't think she'll leave it so late. And when the war is over and I see your face again, then I will tell you of the warriors who put death before revenge. Oh, Bobby was the first to go, and Francis close behind. Our people streamed onto the streets, to have faith was not a crime. Faith is what those men had when they chose to join the fight. Our actions are political, can't that bastard see it we're right? And when the war is over and I see your face again, then I will tell you of the warriors who put death before revenge. The days rolled by and 2 more died, O'Hara and McCreesh. But Thatcher chose to bite her lip, the toil was not to cease. Our barricades, they went up by day, and the bullets, they hung by night. How much longer can they take this pack? There's still no end in sight. And when the war is over and I see your face again, then I will tell you of the warriors who put death before revenge. It's a dreadful thing that these men have joined the ranks of martyrs brave. It's 10 too many coffin nails, it coldly to their grave. Oh, and if they only realize, and Thatcher mark as well, 'cause they have 10 more determined reasons just to break out of this hell. And when the war is over and I see your face again, then I will tell you of our warriors who put death before revenge. Oh, Hyracuse, Macretion Sands, Doherty and Lynch, McDonald, Hurst and McAwee,
There we go. So the Death for Revenger from Alan Quinn with, I'm sure the lads of Shebeen in the background. That was spicy for Derek Delaney. He asked that one, our resident dirty dub. Don't know you can do your accent like that, can I? Don't want to insult your intelligence too much. So don't, yeah, just a wee comment he made there basically about the, let's see, hold on a second, where was it? About the Celtic Festival. He says, for anyone, for anyone never at the Hills Donegal, I would recommend it. Can never feel so much love, happiness for people that follow Celtic. Actually, I put the video for this here on TikTok the other day there, and some guy commented. I think he's a friend of the show, and he watched the show, and he says, "You wouldn't catch me near out there. It's just a bloody fucking Shinner Fest." And like, to be honest, if anything, that festival is definitely not. I mean, there's people of all creeds of basically republicanism and nationalism go to that festival. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that'll be really anti-Sinn Féin. There's a lot of Shinners go to it. I mean, at their festival, I think what it is, it brings everybody together. It's just all Celtic fans and nothing else. That's the Hills Donegal Festival is about, you know. And it's hard to explain. Basically, we normally starts off on a Thursday night. It's normally Spirit of Freedom will be the only band on the Thursday night. They would normally play in the Central Hotel, but obviously the Central isn't happening this year because they've decided to close down and take in Ukrainian refugees. So I think Paris, as far as will maybe come back this year, hopefully. For me, it's the best venue for the whole festival. So, Spirit of Freedom normally play on the Thursday night, then it all kicks off proper on the Friday. So you have basically, we normally get up about 3 o'clock or something on the Friday afternoon, get into the hotel, and then you're just straight on the beer. So you are. So you have all the bands on from about 6 normally on Friday night. Then it's on all day Saturday night, all day Sunday night. And I would set up my marquee, my wee tent on the Saturday afternoon. So if you look through my videos on the Facebook page here for the podcast, you'll see some of the videos from the last couple of festivals. Absolutely fantastic. I normally set up outside the Central where we just a wee marquee tent, and sometimes get a couple of the singers. If they aren't playing the bar that day or they're not playing at night, they come in, do a couple of songs, we'll do it live, and it's a phenomenal weekend. Just so cheers to Mary Bell, Mary, Karen, and Teresa for all the rest of the family for asking me back every year to do it. I started going to the festival through with a flute band when I started playing with the Alsop flute band. That's how they play at the festival as well. And obviously I left the band, but still wanted to go to the festival, and lucky enough, the podcast came about, and Mickey wanted me to keep doing the live set, which is great. So it's great to be part of the festival. So folks, I would advise you, get there if you're free. It's the last weekend in September. Get down to it, folks. It's £50 for the whole weekend from busy Thursday to Sunday. And it's a phenomenal, that's what I'm going to say, it's a phenomenal weekend. Bring a tent down, pitch a tent, you can get away with the weekend, it's some crack. Right, go move on with the tunes. We'll go do this one here from, what are we going to play next? We're going to do a song a bit livelier this time. The last few tunes have all been ballady songs. So we're going to play on the half full today, so we've another 20 minutes for you. So this is The Boys of the Old Brigade. From Chris Carney. It's recorded live in Potter Brown's pub there in Dublin. It's a cracking CD. This one, folks, would advise you to go on to it. It's actually still on. It's on Spotify as well if you want to listen to it. So, right, we're going to live it up for the last 20 minutes of today's show. Here we go. This is Chris Carney of Aaron Gobra, live in Potter Brown's in Dublin with the Boys of the Brigade.
Oh, Father, why are you so sad on this bright Easter morn, when Irishmen, they are proud and they're glad of the land where they were born? Oh, son, I see in memory of you a far off distant days, when being just a lad like you joined the IRA. Oh, where are the lads that stood with me when history was made? Oh, Bracken, I want to see the boys of the old brigade. From the hills to forts of walls and warns was heard by one and all, and from the glen came those brave young men just to answer Ireland's call. It was long ago we faced the foe, the old brigade and me, and by my side we fought and died so that Ireland she might be free. Where are the lads that stood with me when history was made? Oh, Bracken, I want to see the boys of the old brigade. Oh, armoured cars and tanks and guns came to take away our sons. Every man must stand behind the men behind the wire. Through the little streets of Belfast in the dark of early morn, British soldiers came running, wrecking little homes with scorn. Care saw the crying children, dragging bottles from their bed. Watch the single helpless mothers, watch the blood pour from their head. Armoured cars and tanks and guns, it came to take away our sons. Every man must stand behind the men behind the wire. Oh, not for them a judge or jury, nor indeed a crime at all. Being Irish means we're guilty, so we're guilty one and all. Round the world the truth will echo, Cromwellsmen are here again. England's name again is sully in the eyes of honest men. Here we go! Oh, armoured cars and tanks and guns came to take away our sons. Every man must stand behind the men behind the wire. And now, my boy, I told you why on Easter morning I have sang, as I recall my comrades all of dark old days gone by. Sure, I think of men who fought St. Glen with rifles and hand grenades. May heaven keep the men who sleep on the ranks of the old brigade. Oh, where are the lads who stood with me when history was made? Oh, Bracken, I want to see the boys of the... Right, one more time, let me hear clap, here now. Oh, where are the lads who stood with me when history was made? Oh, Bracken, I want to see the boys and girls of the old brigade.
On Chris Carney, folks. the Boys Over Brigade. A wee bit of armoured cars and tanks and guns in there as well for you. That's from his album recorded live at Aidan's place, Potter Brown's there in Dublin. Another place I've yet to get to, but I might get there one of these days. Just the way things have happened, I don't know. But yeah, folks, we're going to have another 15 minutes here. Say we're going to play on to 4:30 today because Joey's interview went on a wee bit longer, and I thought, actually, he texted her and says, I hope I didn't rabbit on too much, did I? And I said, listen, mate, your rabbiting was the reason I got you on today. There's a rabbiting on talking shite, and then there's basically people sitting talking from the heart, and that's the stuff you want to hear. That's what the show's all about, folks. So I don't mind get on and basically extend the interview a bit longer than it would be, you know, rather than somebody just talking robotic and going, yeah, no, I mean, that was a great interview, so it was. Right, let's see who I have saying. What do we have? Let's see. Graham Keaton. Graham, how you doing, mate? Listen, good luck with your studio sessions with Styx, mate. You're going to have a great time to get down there, and there's no better man for it to be recording an album with. Hi, Paul, can you play Wally and Danny for me and the lads listen here in Dublin? Not a problem, mate. Yes, I'm going to play Wally Danny at some stage before we finish up today. Eamon Malley, excellent show today, mate. Eamon, thank you very much, mate. And again, thank you very much as always for supporting the show. Stevie Holbrook, Joey should have joined the French Foreign Legion. Well, Stevie, I'm sure the skills that you learnt in the Foreign Legion will do later on in the next few years whenever you start become Mary Lou's bodyguard. Listen, we're going to do a song here. I see there. Look, Derek Delaney says, Stephen, Tyrone win last week. What a win for Derry, folks. Seriously, Jesus Christ. At Healy Park as well. I don't think anybody's seen that there coming, so I didn't like. Colleen Ward says, Roe, Potter Brown's an amazing bar. Great time there last Sunday. I'm sure it was. I know Martin wanted to check. Let's see. Martin Heaney says, I had the pleasure of having Mr. Holbrook sitting here when it was happening. I didn't slag him at all. No, he done that there on the Rock Bar last Sunday, and every singer slagged him off. Bick slagged him off. Jerry Oak slagged him off. And then Emer got a bit of slagging as well. Like, I see, before she hit up the Rock Bar, she had her Tyrone top on, and it was well took off, so it was, when she got to the Rock Bar last Sunday. But listen, speaking of the Rock Bar, well, it was a pleasure to be there last Sunday at the Rebel Sundays. Haven't been for, I think the last time I was in the Rock was the night of the big fans gathering in September there, and we all headed down. It was a great night with the lads from Clover, for a few pints and stuff. So I was doing the gig last week in McKenna's, and I said, frick, I'm going to go out. I was off work on Monday, so I was out obviously with Elaine and Marty, and Mr. Holbrook tagged along as well, so he did. Let's see. Wally Charnley, how you doing, Wally? Cracking show as always. Thank you very much, Smucker. Much appreciated. Right, so we're going to do this here song here. Damien Quinn, Rebel Sundays. See, this is the song that the show takes its name from. And we're going to do this from Marty Kane, who is watching, I think it's in Salou. It is. He's over anyway with his dad. Over sunning himself. She's buggers. She's not jealous at all, to say. I'd be there. I'd be in Tenerife. And where are we going? October. So it better be at least 40. In October, or I won't be happy, so I won't. I just need a holiday, so I wouldn't really mind if it's pissing down. I just need about a week away from here on the drink. Right, so we're going to rattle through these tunes, folks. Here, this is Damien Quinn with Rebel Sundays on the Rebel podcast, folks. Here we go.
Well, it took us through down the old Falls Road. Rebel Sunday is the day when you see Jerry Oak and Damien Quinn sing a song of the IRA. I ask you friends, are you heading to the Rock? Cause I have Rebel Sundays on at 6 o'clock. There's Damien Quinn. He hits the Queen. And Jerry Oak, he loves Shabine. Well, Jerry Oak sings fuck your flag and fuck it again. While Damien Quinn sings 18 Brits and a nation once again. I ask you friends, are you heading to the Rock? Cause I have Rebel Sundays on at 6 o'clock. There's Damien Quinn. He hits the Queen. And Jerry Oak, he loves Shabine. They'll hear the songs of Bobby Sands and the men who fought and died. The broad black primer and the blackened tans and the provost lullaby. I ask you friends, are you heading to the rock? Cause the hot rebel Sundays and it's 6 o'clock. There's Damien Quinn. He hits the queen. And Jerry O'Keefe loves Shabby. Well, I took a stroll down the old Falls Road. Rebel Sunday is the day when you see Jerry O'Keefe and Damien Quinn sing the song of the IRA. I ask you friends, are you heading to the rock? Cause the hot Rebel Sundays and it's 6 o'clock. There's Damien Quinn. He hits the queen. And Jerry O'Keefe loves Shabby. Damien Quinn, he hits the queen. 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 Jerry O, Jerry, Jerry O. Jerry O, Jerry, Jerry O. Jerry O, Jerry, Jerry O.
On the Damien. Damien Quinn there, folks, with recorded live in the Rock Bar. So it was when was the album or live in the Rock? Let's see. Ethan Oliver going to play Whiskey in the Jar. Don't really know if it fits in with the ethos of the show and the songs we normally play. Paul O'Sheeran, what's the crack, Paul? Good man yourself for tuning in today. Hi, Ro, big win for Limerick hurlers today. Hon the Treaty Boys. Who was Limerick playing today? I seen a few people are posting about Limerick. With the sort of giving them kittens watching it, so they were. Dan Breen says, great show today, an interview, good man, Ro, happy days, Dan, cheers for tuning in, cheers for the wee donation you sent me here, Dan, much appreciated, mucker, as always. I am getting you to do my birthday party, Deirdre Cardwell. Well, give me a wee PM and we'll discuss fees, if I'm available or not. Let's see. Right, so we're going to becoming 50. Just like, look at a woman of middle age, so it's spicy live on the internet. Like, there you go. Well, happy 50 if it comes. Right, so what do we have? We're going to play. We're going to do this one for Graham Keaton, who asked me to play Wally and Danny. So, folks, if any is or in any doubt, obviously, you know, Wally and Danny's my favourite song. I always talk about playing it at the show, whatever. But this particular version here, right? Is the one from Callie's Men from their album live in the Crescent Bar in Derry. So this now whenever and I mentioned this before. Oh, Stevie, I gladly be Mary Lou's bodyguard, Ro. Richie Hughes says, Ro, will you say hail to Richie and Alan and Draken at County Louth? Hail. Cheers for tuning in this afternoon there, lads. Yeah, so once I finally get down, folks, what I mean, like down, as in Terry Bread, I'm gone, and the and go be cremated. So whenever the thing is brings you down, and they play a wee song for you, this is the song I want played whenever I'm going to get burnt in that box, right? So in case Laura forgets or somebody goes to tell her, I know one usual. If any of you are at to go at the funeral, a few years maybe actually, this is the song has to be played, okay? And it's probably going to be written in my will. So this is a ballad of Wally and Danny. Strange, I know, but listen, that's me. Bit strange. So this is for Graham Keaton. And Graham will say, I can't wait to hear some of the stuff you have when you record it with Sticks, mate. He'll do a really, really good job for you. So I'll definitely be playing something on the show once you get on. So this is, folks, the ballad of Wally and Danny. Probably one of the best rebel songs ever written. Phenomenal. This is Mickey Kelly and Kelly's Men, recorded live in Derry, folks. Down to this may be the last two songs for you. Here we go.
Try to sing some songs of glory, sing some songs of peace. In the end, it's the same old story. They're both too hard to reach. People tell me that they're sick and tired of seeing this place run down. But I say take off those blindfolds, you hypocrites, and help get us off the road. Let's hear it! And please say it isn't so. While Willie and Donnie, they had to go, the reason's very clear. And laying down their lives for this year after year. 70 shots between their bodies. Not one of those bullets missed. And for every trigger pulled that morning, a volunteer will enlist. For 5 long hours they left him lying there. The priest was turned away. Just another step lower for those SAS bastards who'll never forget the day. And please say it isn't so. While Willie and Donnie, well, they had to go. The reason's very clear. They're laying down their lives for this year after year. Funerals where to prove their worthiness, while thousands they from the streets, just to watch the postal boys hover helplessly overhead as the rock they came out to salute. They emptied their magazines over each coffin as defiantly the crowd they were sent. So another day dawns again, those guns they'll be on again. For Willie and Danny had friend. Come on! And please say it isn't so. While Willie and Donnie, well, they had to go. The reason's very clear. They're laying down their lives for this year after year. Please say it isn't so. While Willie and Donnie, well, they had to go. The reason's very clear. They're laying down their lives for this year after year. Please say it isn't so.
What a tune, folks. What a tuner, man. That's for Graham Keaton, Baldy Wally and Danny. Probably one of the greatest Rebel songs ever written. There you go, from Kelly's Men. Right, folks, we're going to wrap her up here. I did say we were going to play an extra half hour today because of Joey's interview. Went on a wee bit longer than what normally would, but nothing wrong with there. So, folks, thank you very much to all of you. Cheers for all the really nice comments and PMs I've had about the Lock Gall segment we've done today. I put a wee bit of work into it during the week, but really wanted to do something special today for the volunteers, and very happy the way it went. So thank you all. Again, cheers for all the tips and donations you've all given me today, folks. All legends, a lot of you. I say the show wouldn't be going every Sunday the way it is without all you dropping me a few quid every now and again to keep the show going. So cheers to all of you. Loads and loads of good comments today. So there was. Let's see. Martin Haney says, "What about an extra show to celebrate the champions?" Well, Marty, you have to see what's going to happen next week. You'll have to just see. So you will. But listen. Next Thursday, I'm at Ed Sheeran, so I am, right? So I cannot wait. Ed Sheeran's going to be playing at Belfast next Thursday and Friday. Cannot wait. We're going to be there next Sunday. Went to go and see him in Phoenix Park a couple of years ago. Probably the best live gig I've ever been to in my life. That's not talking shit. Amazing. Then the next day, actually, because we'll have Josie's Communion is on Ro, you are the show. We'll have Josie's Communion on Saturday. So that's where I'm at once with us. Obviously, so I'm not even doing a gig that day, so I'll probably be gigging myself in my own house. So, but yeah, Josie's Communion is on Saturday, so we can't do an extra show then, but we'll be doing something, don't worry, folks, for the inevitable Celtic being crowned champions. Don't forget it. Don't think about that there. Sean Grogan says, hardly donate, mate. Well, listen, if you use PayPal or Revolut, listen, if you can just look up here, where I'm pointing to, just scan your phone over one of them wee links, and it'll bring you straight to PayPal or Revolut, and you can donate what you want. Or if you don't use nothing like that, there, send me a wee PM, and I can sort of a bank transfer. But listen, another great afternoon. Thank you very much. Mark C79, class show again. Oh, thank you, Derek. Always a pleasure, mate. Ro, you are the show. Right, so listen, we're going to finish up. We haven't done this tune in a few weeks. We sort of said at the start of the year, we're going to finish up the show every week night going forward with Dougie Breslin, with Jackie Duddy. Obviously, all a song about Jackie Duddy, one of the guys young boys who was murdered in Bloody Sunday. The song just really resonates with me, and so many people listen to the show, so that's how it was getting asked for every single week. So we'll decide that we're going to play it for the last song of the show, but the last few weeks it just wasn't able to happen because we had different shows organised for different things and we couldn't fit it in. So we're going to do that for you now, right? So here we go. It's the last one of the day, folks. This is Jackie Duddy, and then we'll finish up as always with a rant in the vein. Finish up the show. So thanks very much, folks. This is all the day. Been a great show. Cheers to Joey Bracken, absolute legend. Great interview, probably up there with one of the best I've done yet. So definitely. This is Dougie Breslin, folks, with Jackie Duddy for the last song of the day show. Thank you.
Jackie, I remember your face from a far distant place. Yes, I do. Jackie, you were an innocent boy. Why did they destroy your future road to you? You came from a home of 9 sisters and 5 brothers. Up in the Craigan, you were my cousin. You worked with me brother Dustin, named after me father. Died in springtime, tending looms. Jackie, you were just 17 when they shattered your dreams, and we never got over it. Jackie, you'd have found a good wife and had a wonderful life and raised your weans well. In 68, your mother Maureen, she died, and with Willie, your father, we cried. She was so very young. Her sister Dolly said if Maureen had survived, she'd have been in the coffin by your side. Your mother couldn't have coped. Jackie, you were good in the ring, 'cause that was your thing. You would have been a champion. Jackie, your nephew John did you proud. He's recognized by the crowd as fulfilling your ambitions. Your face is painted in murals down in the bog, and I pray to God that you'll not be forgotten. That day in 72, it's etched on our minds, the day that innocents died. They called it Bloody Sunday. Jackie, there were 13 others as well, more unfinished stories to tell. Jackie, 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 our Jackie, Jackie Duddy. On a summer's day in Derry in 2010, thousands gathered again, and the world had gone. The British government said sorry and admitted they're wrong. The clapping went on and on, the cheering went on and on. Jackie, your innocence was declared, your family's voices were heard after 38 years. Jackie, now you can rest in peace. The false accusations have ceased. The truth has been set free. Honey Doherty, Gerald Donaghy, Hugh Gilmore and Michael Kelly, Michael McDade, Kevin McElhenney, Bernard McGuigan and Gerald McKinney, William McKinney, William Nash, James Ray, John Johnston, John Young and Jackie Duddy.
You've been listening to Rebel Podcast of Rory Carson. To listen to this and past episodes again, and to also check out future episodes, keep an eye on our official SoundCloud page. We are also available on all social media outlets. Just search Rebel Podcast. Bhí sé bh géisteach an sin leis an fád cruúlaí Rebel le Rory McCarson. Le héisteach le seo agus hir hagran a ríis, agus na hagran atá le teach, caisúil ar siú efidul sugin ar SoundCloud, agus táid ar fáil ar gach cinneal ardan ar na main thuirseilta. Ní mór dit ach fád cruúlaí Rebel a curda.